Totes Recall.
Welcome to Totes Recall, the podcast where we talk about a movie we don't remember very well. Watch that movie. Eat.
Oh, no.
Drink. Be merry.
Whoa.
What do we eat?
Oh,
Pizzas
there
and
we go.
salads.
Okay.
Thank you,
Jeez.
patrons.
No one
on the
Thank
edge
you,
of my seat.
patrons.
And then talk about what we've learned about that movie. Talk about what that movie's learned about us.
Ooh.
My name is Dan.
I'm Molly.
I'm also Dan.
And I'm Beth.
And this is our... Oh, are those jingle bells I hear?
Bing bong, bing bong, bing bong, bing
it's-
bong.
it's snowing
bing
outside.
Bong, bing bong.
Is that a man in a big red suit?
Oh.
Oh.
Ooh, I'm an old, crusty British industrialist, and I don't believe in joy.
Please, sir, may I have a cup
Oh,
of...
that's not
Goose.
holiday themed at all.
Oh, fine.
Wait, is it? I don't know.
No, it's
Goose.
Oliver.
Has anyone read Oliver recently? Do they celebrate the holidays in Oliver?
It's our holiday episode, and our movie is Die Hard,
Oh.
which half of us remembered we were watching.
Yeah, I remembered NBD.
I did too, though I double-checked with Beth right before.
Wait, isn't it controversial whether this is actually a holiday movie or not?
It is.
At
Okay.
least
It's- Yeah.
yeah.
You want to get right into it?
Sorry, I totally cut you off and then neither of us went after that.
That's because we're being very polite to each other because it is the holidays.
It's
Yeah.
the holidays. We're spreading cheer.
None of us want to be the Grinch of the podcast, even though we already know who that is.
Yeah. I'll come out
Damn.
and say it. I don't think this is a Christmas movie. But also, I don't care.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, it's a movie that takes place on Christmas.
Right.
I mean, okay, I'll just be the contrarian. Isn't it kind of about the Christmas spirit?
Is it?
Yeah, it's about him stepping on glass and his wife's buddy does coke.
Well, I mean, some other
Ex-wife?
things happen too, right?
It's also called Snow sometimes.
I'm of the opinion.
Back in.
that- I'm of the opinion that you could say it's a Christmas movie because it's a movie that takes place during Christmas. And if you think about like what people consider Christmas movies, that is sometimes like literally it. That is all the dressing being hung on that time.
Yeah, like Home Alone is set, it's like mostly about like home invasion. But then there's also like Garland.
Well, but doesn't he have a meaningful conversation with his neighbor,
Oh, yeah.
wisdom character at a church on Christmas Eve?
Sure, but
About family.
isn't that more about family though than like
That's,
Christmas?
I think the themes of family is a point towards something becoming a Christmas
I mean, in
true.
that case, every Fast and Furious movie.
Well, it's
would
got
count,
it's
'cause
got points. It's not a decide all thing.
Do you
Not
think
all
the
family
next Fast
movies.
and Furious movie is going to be a Christmas
I
movie?
would love that.
Fast and Furious,
mean-
Jingle 9 bells.
What?
I don't know.
Wow.
Oh yeah,
I
because
would
it has
love
to
that.
have the number 9 in it also.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, right.
Oh,
Ooh.
do you think there'll be like a sled that
Ah.
like has like a crazy?
I think the
Eight Tiny
tagline would
Reindeer.
be "Jingle all the way,"
Oh,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
Yeah.
What?
like extreme.
Like the Schwarzenegger movie?
What? Was there an All the Way Schwarzenegger
Jingle
movie?
all the way.
Jingle all the way.
That was a movie.
Yeah. It was filmed here in the great state of Minnesota.
With
Yeah.
Shazam star Sinbad.
Yes. Anyway,
That was such a good movie. Shazam. I loved it.
the point is Die Hard is probably a Christmas movie or not. Who cares? Live your truth. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
If
This
it's one
movie's
for you, then it's one for you.
Yeah.
It's not one for me, and I don't think it is generally.
Yeah.
But like, I don't care.
Right. Like people probably have like Christmas movies where they watch a certain movie at Christmas, but it's like something insane that has nothing to do
Much
with
like
Christmas.
Saw 4 every
Yeah.
Christmas. And they're like, this is my
What?
Christmas
Right?
movie. And you're like, okay, live your life.
Yeah.
That's
Wow.
weird,
Yeah.
but it's yours.
It's true.
But yeah, people are like mad about it sometimes.
People mad about it, or just people were tangentially associated with and bored on the internet mad about it?
Bored on the
that.
internet mad for sure.
Because I have no sense of if this is like a culture-wide argument.
I mean, I think I know one of the biggest proponents of this as a Christmas movie. It is a local theater artist who does a Die Hard Christmas show every year.
So it's just marketing then.
No, I mean, I think it's a for real deep down belief.
I wonder how many people that really believe it's a Christmas movie are doing that just to get other people's goats, as it were. I feel like this is the kind of movie you say is a Christmas movie just to make people mad who are really into Christmas movies.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a Christmas movie.
Ooh, see, there
Great.
you go.
Live your truth. But also, I'm mad at you.
Yeah. Goats
Yeah.
have been had
I didn't.
or gotten.
I
How's that
like-
work?
Yeah, my goat got.
Okay. What, Beth? You were saying something?
Oh, I was just saying it to make people mad. I
Yeah.
don't really care. Who cares?
Come at us.
Maybe. Who cares?
Die Hard Christmas heads.
Well, yeah,
Something better.
diehards.
Or
Die-
the,
Oh, Die
Molly.
Hards.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Molly gets double meaning.
Anyway, this movie may or may not be a Christmas movie. We've already talked about it far longer than we should
Yeah,
have.
I mean, it's our holiday episode, so I guess we've all decided it sort of is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The brand of Totes Recall has
Yes.
firmly decided it is a Christmas movie.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think we're watching this because no one had seen Home for the Holidays, which I think is the holiday movie.
Which one is that?
It has Holly Hunter in it.
Is that the one where JTT's got to get home or
No,
else he doesn't
that's
get a
I'll
car?
Be Home for Christmas.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen that either,
I
but
haven't
I
seen
want
it.
to watch it.
Yeah, we should watch that. Ooh, next year.
What?
There's a movie where JTT has to come home on time to get a sports car.
Wait, what?
that
That's the
Jonathan?
motivation?
I think so.
Oh, it's amazing.
Like he'll get a car for Christmas.
So
if he
it's
gets
just
home on time.
consumerism that's motivating him?
That's
It's
right.
not family togetherness at all?
It's like in Prime JTT.
Yeah.
Prime.
Yeah.
Prime.
And that's Jonathan
Yeah.
Taylor Thomas.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Come on.
Come on, Molly.
Come on, Molly.
Ooh.
Speaking of, I
Die
don't
Hard?
know, people who are on TV that were in the prime of their careers that were then in a Christmas movie.
Oh.
Bruce Willis is in this movie.
Yeah, and that cop who was on a TV show.
Wait, what
Oh.
TV show was he on?
Moonlighting.
Oh, yeah, that's how it started
Oh.
out.
This was like part of the reason this movie was a big deal, right? Because it was just like Bruce Willis is doing an action gun movie.
Oh,
What?
man.
Was it?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
he
my
was great.
understanding.
It was
at
a big
least
deal.
I was young
Yeah.
when it came out, so I didn't care.
I was
Right.
older. I was watching Moonlighting.
Yeah.
And he was such a, at the time, all of that smirking and the way he gave his lines and the whole idea of your action hero also being wry and kind of funny.
Because Moonlighting was like kind of a comedy, right? Like it was kind of silly.
It was kind of silly.
Or at
He
least,
definitely
like-
was the half that brought the most silly.
Okay.
Sybil Shepherd was a very snoozy character.
What is that show about?
He's like a private detective. Is that
Sure.
right?
I don't know.
I don't know. Somehow it's one of those like overboard stories where she's well-to-do, or it's like a Sam and Diane from
Oh, okay.
Cheers, and will they or
She's
won't
a
they?
mermaid?
And there's yeah.
Wait.
He's
and
investigating.
There's no mermaid in Overboard.
What am I thinking of?
I don't know.
Splash?
Splash? Oh boy.
Oh geez.
I get those movies confused.
But there's
Why?
all this tension for the whole first 2 seasons,
Uh-huh.
and in the last episode of the second season, I think they finally get together and they
Ooh.
roll all over the floor, and you
Whoa.
can see where he like lifts up a towel next to her cheek, sort of, or like he like moves her hair or her clothes or something. But it's because they were both laughing so hard because it was all so awkward
Oh.
after playing all that tension for so long.
Sure.
Apparently. Anyway, that was Moonlighting.
Yeah.
We'll put that on our third podcast after Big Friends Bang is done. We'll do Moonlighting and the show that the cop from Die Hard was in.
Wait, is the cop Carl Winslow?
That sounds
Yes.
right. That name sounds
Which show
right.
was Urkel in?
Yeah, Urkel.
Is that Carl
The
Winslow?
Urkel show.
Yeah.
The Urkel show.
Family
Family Matters.
Great. We'll watch Moonlighting and Family
I
Matters.
love it.
He also
sequentially.
plays a cop in Family Matters.
Right.
What?
Typecast.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
There's a villain named
Yeah.
Hans, and he has blonde
Yeah.
hair.
Gruber.
Oh my God. I
Alan
can't remember his
Rickman.
name.
Fucking Allie Ricks, man.
Allie
It's Allie
Ricks.
Ricks.
Crushing
His
it.
first
This is
movie,
our second
I think.
Allie Ricks holiday movie.
What?
Oh.
We also watched Love Actually.
That's right.
Jaquette's
Oh.
bet. This one's better than Love Actually.
I will double Dan on that.
Ooh, secondary bet. Even though he is a murderous criminal, we will like his character more than his character in Love Actually.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
Yeah, I'm on board.
I
Yeah.
will also say that probably this relationship between McClanahan, is that right?
No,
John McClane.
John
Ah.
McClane.
Oh,
John McClane
close enough.
and
Yeah.
his wife, who goes by a different last name,
Yes.
is more healthy than any relationship in Love Actually.
Wow.
I'll double down on that.
Yeah.
And here's what's sad is I had always seen Die Hard, and but I was really fuzzy on the details. And so then about 2 years ago, I finally watched it, and I realized I had never seen it before. So apparently this happens even outside of Totes Recall. But I remember some details. I'm very excited.
Lay 'em
That's
on us.
exciting.
There's a barefoot scene.
Yeah.
And, there's a scene where he gets driven in a car. Yes, at the beginning. Oh, there definitely is.
Oh yeah,
Gets
isn't that where
driven
they
in a car?
explain like his entire character?
Oh, yeah.
Where
It's
the
like,
driver's like, "Oh, you got a wife or something," and he's just like,
yeah.
"Oh, actually, no, I'm divorced."
Oh, yeah,
The
the
limo
limo
driver.
driver who's
Yeah.
like just parties underground
Yeah.
and doesn't know what's going on for most of the movie.
Yeah. He's
Oh,
like listening
comedy.
to loud
And
music.
then he freaks out.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And there are bad guys and his wife. And I think maybe her boss gets killed.
Oof.
And there's an elevator.
Ooh.
There's definitely an elevator. The kind you can see through. I guess it'll be made of glass.
A glass elevator?
Yeah. I wonder if there'll be any like career metaphors I can find in this one.
I hope so.
I
Is
do
she
too.
in a glass ceiling?
Ooh.
Oh.
Do you think she's
Career?
got a conversation with the boss of just like, when am I going to get that? Whatever.
I don't
Or
know.
if he says something like really patronizing, like, "Oh, if you nail that account, maybe we'll discuss your."
Why don't you come up to
Option.
my office and
Ooh.
we'll raise something up?
Is he Creep Supreme?
Ooh.
Is the boss Creep Supreme in this
I
movie?
don't think
I don't
Someone's
think
a
so
creep.
either. I think she likes her boss.
Oh.
Oh, and he's jealous. Her husband is jealous. But really of her whole life.
Oh,
Because she
sure.
picked up and left him in New York.
Yeah.
Where he's a cop.
Which he explains
Mm-hmm.
in detail
Oh,
in that
yeah.
drive over.
Yep.
So she's big time corporate lady.
Yeah.
Corporate party.
Yeah.
Someone does coke. I know this for sure.
Okay, good.
I think she has like, there's like another guy in the office that she might be dating.
Yeah, he's like a party animal.
Yeah.
Is he the Coke guy?
Yeah.
I think so.
When did
think
this
he's
movie
kind
come
of a
out? Speaking
weirdo.
of Coke,
Oh, 87.
I'm also going to say 87.
I'll say 85 for
Oh.
spice.
86
Oh,
Nice.
to be right in between.
Okay.
Good sandwich.
I thought you were going to say a range of years.
Cowardly 86.
86
That's the
to
boldest bet.
previously
Yeah.
and post
Does
that.
anyone, not to just pivot completely, does anyone remember what Hans Gruber is doing there?
Oh,
Like
being
why he is
mean.
being a crimer?
He wants
Money?
Yeah,
think
there's
so.
a safe in the basement that they
Yeah.
have to unlock for
Is
some
it
reason.
code? Or is it? Oh, it's weapons.
I
It's
thought
got
it
to
was
be
in the-
weapons.
isn't that Die
Opposite
Hard
of the
3?
basement. Isn't it up in the top?
I think it's in the basement.
Ooh, okay.
It ends on the top.
I think he's on the top and he has to work his way down.
Ooh,
Oh.
corporate metaphor.
Wait, do we think he's working his way up through the building or down through the
Ooh,
building?
Hans Gruber?
No.
No,
McClane.
John
McClane.
McClane.
Great question.
I mean, the climactic end action is on the roof.
Yeah. No, he's definitely in the lobby at one point. Or somebody's in the lobby. Bad guys are in the lobby. The cop's in the lobby.
The cop's outside.
No, he comes into the lobby. They get a call, and he goes in, and the guy, there's like a guy, one of the bad guys, is sitting at the front desk, and he's like, nope, everything's fine.
Oh.
And then he's like, all right, we'll see you later. And then he leaves, and then he's like, something weird is happening. And then he
Ooh.
sees something happen.
Molly's bet there's a bank of security cameras somewhere. And they get tricked.
Nice. Doesn't I feel like Cop realizes like how crazy shit has gotten because like McClane like I don't know like throws a dude out of a window or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Did Con Air rip that off?
Doesn't it land on the cop's car?
I think it does.
Yeah.
And then that's when the cop is like, "Oh, this is a real situation."
Yeah, and he's just like chilling outside. Jaquette's bet he plays that moment very well of being like, "What's going on?" to like, "Oh fuck."
Yeah, I remember Winslow being real good in this whole movie.
who's Winslow?
The cop.
Oh,
That's his character, by the way, his name on Family Matters. I don't know the
Okay.
actor's name.
Yeah, I don't either. Sorry.
Just so everyone's aware of what they're playing
Thank you
with
for
right now.
clarifying.
This movie also has a famous cinema line that's in like every montage of like buy a DVD.
Oh, sure.
yippee-ki-yay.
I think it's
There's
yippee
more to
ki yay, motherfucker.
That's
Whoa.
And they always cut it right before the cursing.
Yeah.
Oh, probably.
It's like yippee-ki-yay, mother.
Yeah.
Monday through Friday.
Oh yeah.
Those
Is
are my
that the
favorite.
official TV dub?
It happens.
Yeah, the dubs are my favorite on
Oh,
TV
dubs are
they're
amazing.
like, I wish I could remember. It was like on Kill Bill they dropped the C word at one point, and on TV they say like "You crazy girl," or something like that.
That's
That's my
great.
favorite.
There's a
That's
really
amazing.
good Big Lebowski one where someone's destroying. No,
Yes.
John Goodman's destroying a car.
Yep.
And the dub is, "This is what happens when you find a stranger in the Alps."
There's a there's one I remember from the last couple of years where the TV edit of Any Given Sunday, the Oliver Stone football movie, there's a
Oh.
point where Al Pacino is like very mad that his football team lost the football game, and we are led to believe shouts the word flakes.
Flakes. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's real good.
I got to live in the former Soviet Union for about 4 weeks.
I'm
when I was
sorry,
in high
what?
school.
Wait,
This is just
Yeah.
coming up now?
I
wait.
don't know. I've
I'm
mentioned
sorry.
this before.
No.
No,
what?
this has
Oh.
literally never come up on the show or in the
Also,
years I've known
I feel like
you.
now our show will be flagged for some reason.
Sorry,
Collusion.
everyone. Yeah, no,
While it was the Soviet Union?
Yeah,
Oh,
the
cool.
last year
Soviet Union.
before the Soviet Union fell.
Mhm.
So it was, I think, 89 or 90?
89, I believe. The wall came
89
down.
must have been. And I went to the Republic of Georgia
Mhm.
and stayed there for 4 weeks, and it was really an amazing, life-changing trip.
Why?
It was an exchange. I lived in Georgia,
Oh,
and it was a
okay.
Georgia to Georgia exchange.
That's adorable.
Oh.
Isn't that sweet? So Tbilisi and Atlanta were kind of like sister cities.
Sure.
And I didn't go to the school for international studies, but a friend of mine did. And they had an extra spot. And so she called me up one night and said, "Do you want to go on this trip?" And then it only cost like $1,600 for 4 weeks, including all the air
How
travel
many
and everything.
rubles?
Wow.
Oh, like on the black market,
Oh.
16 to 1. But in the official trade, it was like 2 to 1 or 1 to 1. But that was one of the things that I did is I made sure to leave behind a lot of American dollars to try to make up for how much money I'd taken up.
Mm.
Because in Georgia, there was a real culture of hospitality.
The Republic of Georgia?
The Republic
Okay.
of Georgia. I mean, also in the South,
Sure.
but especially in the Republic of Georgia. And especially, it was a part of the world that loved Americans and loved the idea of democracy. Which, I remember our guide, our American teacher guide, was like, "Listen, this is a part of the world that still loves Americans. Do not mess that up. Okay, I know you're a bunch of 16-year-olds, but you will be respectful and you will leave them with a good impression." And of course, I was already like, straight A student, like, absolutely. But anyway, I got to go. It was very cool. And the way they overdubbed movies is they just had one guy's voice. And it was a guy with a really deep voice, and he voiced every character.
Amazing.
Wait, we did talk about this.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
only this part.
Oh.
Yeah,
Did you
not
just
not
think
the
it
part
was-
where you're like in the U.S.
No. How did this happen?
I think I remember knowing you were in Georgia, but not knowing that was the Soviet Union.
Maybe that's what it is.
Oh, well, anyway. So it's just one guy's voice, and he reads every line.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And there would be a child reaching out to Arnold Schwarzenegger going, "Papa," and he would just speak over it, and he'd say, "Papa."
Yeah, you've absolutely told this story
Oh, really?
before.
On this
but-
podcast?
Yes, but
Oh,
I
I'm
think
so sorry,
no, I
everyone.
agree with Dan. I think what happened is you just said you were in Georgia, but you didn't say what year. So we were just like, okay, cool. She went to Georgia,
Yeah.
not realizing you meant while it was still under Soviet control.
Yeah.
Oh, I have a lot of stories. We should talk sometime.
Yeah, that'll be our fourth podcast.
Yeah.
Molly explores the communist and
Yeah.
I don't know.
Comrade Molly.
Comrade Molly's travel log.
Yeah.
Great. Die Hard.
Yes.
It's a good movie.
Yeah.
Will we think it's good? Oh, is it going to pass the Bechdel?
Oh,
Wallace
hard
test? No.
fail.
No.
You don't think wife has like a coworker that's just like, oh, what's going on with Coke boyfriend or something?
That's
I guess that
Coke
doesn't
boyfriend,
pass though. Okay.
yeah.
Okay. How about what's going on with, I don't know, work?
The
How's work?
Anderson account.
Are
I
we
don't
gonna
know.
get promoted?
I think
Yeah.
it's like
No.
a thing where it's like she's a businesswoman who's doing really well for herself,
Uh-huh.
like with all the other men.
Oh, sure.
I
That's true.
think.
Yeah, no, you're probably right.
Yeah, I'm gonna say no other named females.
Yeah.
At all? I'm
At all.
Molly's bet there'll be at least one other named female, but they won't talk.
Does he have a daughter? Like a
yeah, he
kid at
does.
home?
Yeah.
Doesn't she wear a flannel shirt? Why do I
Oh,
think that?
that's a good bet.
I think of my so-called life, but still.
Isn't that True Lies?
What?
You
That they
think True
have
Lies is
kid?
the only movie where there's a
Kid with a
kid with a
flannel.
flannel shirt?
Oh
Yeah.
no, I think he does
Douche
have a
kid,
daughter because I think this is the movie that my sister loves, where there is one scene where they cut away to her because she's like answering the phone at their house or something, and she's just like an adorable little kid who's like McLean resident.
Oh, that does sound cute.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Molly's bet. If that happens, it's really cute.
I'll double down on that. How big of a team does Hans Gruber have, do you think? Do you think it's like an
Huge.
elite squad, or does he like take over the whole building?
I think he takes over the whole building.
It gets the whole building.
Okay.
I mean, because he has to take down a lot of people.
That's true, and he has to have someone convincingly play the security guard at the bottom of
Yeah.
the building, I
think-
suppose.
Yeah.
I
They just
still don't
have
know
the
why he's there,
cameras.
though.
He's like,
I think they're doing some seedy overseas banking.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's some kind of burgling.
I think there's a Japanese business.
Yes,
Oh,
yeah, there is. There's totally a
yes.
Japanese businessman.
Yeah. And they're like, maybe that's her boss.
Or her boss's boss, and they want the
And they're like
code.
about to do. Yeah, they
The,
need some
like,
code.
routing number or
Yeah.
whatever.
Oh yeah.
And then they kill him, and there's
Yes.
blood on the glass.
Oh,
It's gross.
the glass ceiling.
There will definitely be blood on the glass ceiling. Look out, corporate men.
Yeah.
The revolution is coming.
It's coming for you.
In about 1 century.
Yeah.
Last headline I saw said 200 years to close the pay gap.
Wow.
Bummer.
That's a major bummer.
Ah, bummer.
I watched this movie on a plane
Oh.
last year around this time. I was going to Australia, and I watched
No
five.
big
It
deal.
was on the way back from Australia.
Was
I
it
watched-
dubbed over with Australian voices?
And was it part of the Soviet Union at the time?
Yes.
Okay.
And the thing that I remember is I was on the plane for like 18 hours
Yeah,
straight.
yeah.
And there's a point in the movie where he's also on a plane, and the guy next to him tells him like the thing that he always does when he gets home and lands is like rubs his toes on the ground or
That's how
whatever.
he ends up barefoot.
Yeah. Yes. And that is a thing I remember
Oh.
because I did that when I got off the plane. I didn't notice any difference, but it is nice to like stand on ground after being in the air for so
Sure.
long.
Wait, so that's why he has no shoes?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he takes his shoes off. He shows up at her work.
Is he there just to be like, hey, baby, take me back?
No, I
Maybe
think it's
I feel
for
like
his
they have to
daughter
do
or something.
something.
Yeah,
I think they're still married.
But
they're
they're,
just
like,
not living in the same city.
yeah, and then they're up in like one of the offices or her office or something, and then he starts to change. He has to dress up for the party, maybe. So that's why he's in like a white tank top
Oh, right,
and
because he
no
probably
shoes.
took off his like
yeah,
dress shirt.
like
or
he's
whatever.
changing, and then he grabs his gun and goes into the elevator shaft.
Yeah.
I think is the first part where he's like working his way around.
I have a theory that is really a bet. I think he's coming into town because his wife, like they're separated, but he's coming into town to see his daughter for Christmas. So he's
Oh,
like meeting
yes.
his wife at
does
her.
he have a teddy bear or something with him?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, or it's
or
like
some
Con
kind
Air.
of present for
I
her.
keep on
yeah.
thinking of Con Air.
That's
I'm like,
Con
I
Air,
think
Jay.
it's a little tiny bunny rabbit.
Yeah,
No, that's
the bunny gets it.
He
yeah,
probably
the
has
bunny
something
does
though,
get it.
right? That gets destroyed.
Oh,
That's just how it works in these movies.
Turns
I
out
feel
dad
like.
rage.
Dad rage.
Like
yeah.
this is the kind of movie where he has a teddy bear and he hides his gun in it or something, right? Like I know that
Oh,
also
then like
happens.
Yeah.
shoots through the bear
Yeah.
at other people. That seems like
Oh.
every movie.
That's
I
True
know that's
Lies
every
and
movie.
a camera.
What?
They hide a gun in a camera in True
That's
Lies.
also another Bruce Willis movie,
Yeah.
I think.
Where the daughter wears a plaid shirt.
Yeah.
Is
where
that
the-
the last Boy Scout?
Yeah, where he's got a
Oh.
puppet. Remember the puppet?
I
Is
didn't watch
that
Last Boy
Moonrise
Scout.
Kingdom?
What? Where Bruce Willis shoots through a puppet?
He's also in that movie.
Yeah, he is.
I just was thinking Boy Scout. And
Oh.
that's what, it just seemed like we were just going down a train of, is that this movie instead? That's awesome.
Does Alan Rickman have a convincing accent?
Oh,
Oh, absolutely.
I remember him having a convincing accent.
But
yes.
is he? What is he supposed to be? German?
German. Hans.
He's
No, I get that, but like,
German.
do we
That's
think he
Alan
actually
Rickman?
sounds German?
Yes.
Wow.
Jaquette's bet. Alan Rickman crushes it.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm not saying he
'Cause he's
doesn't
an
crush
actor.
it. Like I think he crushed it as an actor, but I'm also wondering like it's the '80s,
Oh.
and I feel like there was a certain point, and there still is honestly in Hollywood where like you can just be like, oh, they're from Europe, but they're speaking English, so just speak with a British accent, it's fine.
I think it's definitely German.
I
All
think I think it's a convincing German accent.
All right.
So there's a point where like he shoots all the windows. Hans Gruber does, I believe. Oh, there's also a point where a guy, he like writes something in blood or something on that guy's t-shirt, and then he sends up the elevator, and the elevator opens, and the guy's dead in the elevator.
Whoa.
So basically, Con Air ripped off a lot of this movie.
Yeah.
But it just took it into the sky.
I bet they were like, it's Die Hard meets Airplane, except it's not funny.
But isn't that Die Hard 2?
Yes, I think
Oh.
so.
Die Hard 2
I've
is on
never
an
seen
airplane.
Die
It
Hard
is?
2.
Yeah, the airplane
Wait.
might be on the ground.
Is that Air Force One?
Oh, and then he's trying to see his wife.
He's
Yeah.
always trying to see that wife.
I think in the third one, he's not trying to see his wife.
The third one,
He's just trying to survive.
How many are there?
Sam Jackson. There's like
4.
5?
5 now, right?
Oh, it had
Whoa.
that guy from the Mac commercials in
Sure.
one of them.
Justin
Just,
Long?
yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant Mac makeup, and I was like, I don't
That'd
know
be
that
Oh,
guy.
that would be very cool.
But in this one, you were going to say something about Windows, and then you got distracted.
Oh, sorry. I think Hans Gruber is the person who's like, or maybe it's a guy with really long blonde hair.
There's definitely a very blonde dude that is like Bruce Willis's like main nemesis for most of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that maybe that's the guy. Where they're kind of in a stalemate and he can't see him, so he realizes what he has to do is shoot down all the glass, like, office walls, and that's why he has to walk through all the glass.
Yeah. A
I
powerful
think.
scene. Iconic buy DVDs type
Making-
scene.
Oh, sure.
Movie
yeah,
memories.
certainly.
Yippee-ki-yay. Well, how do you think it's going to hold up?
Well,
Really?
yeah. I think this is an iconic action movie
Mhm.
that is simple and clean.
So how many yippee-ki-yay motherfuckers
You're adding a
is that?
syllable. Do you realize that every time?
Really?
You add a syllable every
Yeah.
time? Do you
What?
notice?
How is it supposed to be?
Just-
Yippee-ki-yay.
Just kaye,
Oh.
not kayaye.
But we're rating in Yippee
But we're definitely rating kayayes. Are you writing that down?
Yeah, I have no idea how I'm spelling.
You're not even putting the yippee in the bean? Oh, you are. Okay. That is not a yippee. Somebody take a picture of
Forget
that
about it.
so we can put it up on the
It
internet.
just looks like it says yeah, yeah, yes.
Yeah, the yeah.
Great band. Am I going first?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it,
Wait.
Unprecedented.
oh,
Wait, no, this
I
is
didn't mean
weird.
to
Is
mess
that
everything
weird?
Up. I'm
Yes.
sorry.
Does
Dan
it usually
always
mean?
goes first.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right,
Shit, okay.
Dan. How many yippee-ki-yay's mother truckers
Uh-huh.
will you give it?
I don't know. I remember liking this movie a lot. I only saw it a couple years ago for the first time. 4.5. So 3 yippee ki and 1 yippee ki.
I'm gonna say 4 yippee-ki-yay.
Wait, did I do the math right? I don't remember. I already forgot. It doesn't matter. Sorry. Keep
Who
going.
knows? Because yeah, I also just saw it last year and I enjoyed it. It was one of the better of the 5 movies I watched. On the
Oh, plane movies.
I'm giving it 5. Yippee. Kayayayayay.
Ooh, wait a minute.
Whoa.
That's a different unit.
Kayayayayayays.
What are you doing?
I'm putting
Those are 5.
5
yayas.
yayas.
5, yeah.
Oh, so that's. Oh, this is very.
It's
This
1 yippee. Kayayayayayays.
1. So you're
Wait,
taking
that's-
like the next.
It doesn't matter.
You're consolidating
5.
into 1. All right.
5.
Got
Great
it.
movie. Great time. Great podcast. Totesrecall.com. Scroll down to the right. Become a patron. Support us.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. I feel like on the surface of it, I'm going to really enjoy this movie. However, as a human lately, I found myself more frustrated than ever by gender dynamics in film.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm worried that I will not be able to get past that. No, wait. No. I'm not worried about not being able to get past that. I am concerned that this movie will not hold up to my heightened expectations of humanity.
Sure.
Although if that were the scale, I'd give everything a 1. Yippee-ki-yay. So in this case, let's just be daring and give it a 3.
Very daring.
Very daring to take the elevator to the coward floor.
Literally right in the middle.
Yeah, which I don't think we ever fully discussed that. I think that is where Bruce Willis is most of the movie.
In the
In
elevator?
the middle.
Elevator?
I think
Oh,
he's in
okay.
the middle.
He's calling
Yeah.
on ducks and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some hot duct work in this.
Hot duct work? Ooh, wait, isn't there a point where he's literally lighting his way with a lighter in
Yeah.
a duct?
Iconic
Hot duct.
buy DVDs style montage.
Okay, how many iconic scenes do you think there are going to be in this?
Oh, great.
Ooh, a lot.
Yippee-ki-yay.
Welcome to the party, pal.
Oh, I don't know.
It's another one.
Walking on glass.
Yep.
Lighter in the duct.
Yep.
Throwing someone off somewhere.
Yep.
That's it. Oh, Carl Winslow reacting to body fall.
Yeah.
I didn't write any of those down.
It doesn't matter.
Luckily, I've recorded them.
Oh, right. We can review.
Back to the women in the podcast. Back to the
I
women
mean,
in
let's
the
get
podcast.
back to the women in the podcast. That's
Molly
what people
and
want
I.
to hear,
That's
right?
what I hear.
Just shut up, Dan. For
Yeah.
Christ's
I feel
sake.
like
I'm trying to.
there aren't going to be enough women in the movie to feel upset about how they're treated, and I think that the wife, I think she has a lot of agency because
Yeah.
I think she ends up helping him out at some point in the movie.
Yeah, I feel
She
like
realizes he's like there and helping.
I feel like at the end she definitely helps him, and I think there's a point in the middle where she helps like deflect from Gruber getting what he wants or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
'cause
Through
she knows
deception.
the codes. I think.
I think she might know the codes.
There's some codes.
She might know the codes. She's definitely like one of the most valuable hostages they have.
Yeah,
Wow.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Smart cookie.
yeah.
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 Well, okay.
She'll make head secretary one day.
And with that, we're
Oh.
going to press.
She's a strong, powered woman.
And with that, we're going to press pause, eat pizza and salad,
Yeah.
and
you,
watch Die
patrons.
Hard, and we'll be right back. And we're back. We just watched 2 hours and 12 minutes of a Christmas classic with a lot of violence and something for everyone.
Oh. A real ghost.
I mean, it meets the ghost requirement.
Of having
There's-
something for everyone.
There's romance, there's
Yep.
a bromance,
Yep.
there's action, there's good guys and bad guys,
Shirtlessness.
and reporters. What?
Shirtlessness.
Shirtlessness.
And shirt on this.
Yes.
Yeah. Both male and female shirtlessness.
Yep.
It's true.
More male shirtlessness than female.
Ultimately, like by the end, I think mathematically, yeah.
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 Well, anyway, that was the movie.
That was the movie. Came out in 1988.
Hey.
None of us were right.
Oh.
I
Well.
guess 1985. Did I remember that incorrectly?
6.
Yes.
Dan and I were closest with 1987.
Nice.
We also thought it'd be better than Love Actually. Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, for
Oh.
sure.
for
Yeah.
sure.
100%.
Loads better.
Loads.
Yeah, like it's hard for a movie to be worse than Love Actually.
Yeah, I agree. That movie's
Menace.
garbage.
Yeah,
I
Yeah.
don't know.
definitely was.
I might
know what?
like Phantom Menace better.
Here's the thing. If we were like stuck somewhere, right? Like if we were stuck in a cabin or something and like we were snowed in and you were like, I only have 2 movies. I have
God.
Phantom Menace and Love Actually. I'd be like,
Kill yourself.
no, well, I would be like, put Phantom Menace on fucking loop.
Yeah,
At least there's colors.
yeah. For sure. For sure.
Anyway, Die Hard.
Die Hard. Molly, here's the rundown of what you thought was in this movie.
Ooh, exciting.
Bare feet.
Yes.
Nailed
Yep.
it. Driven in a car.
Very much so.
Yes.
A limo car. even.
Yeah.
Car.
Yeah.
There are bad guys.
Yeah.
Yep, bad guys.
Nailed it.
There's an elevator that's made of glass.
Oh.
No.
No.
No,
It's a lot of important elevators, a lot of important glass.
but not
But
the
never
same.
the twain shall meet.
No.
What is that one with the horse gets on the elevator?
What?
What are you talking
Oh,
about?
True Lies. That's True Lies.
That is
Oh,
True Lies.
that is True Lies. Yeah, because he has to ride a horse. It's great. We should watch True
Yeah,
Lies.
and he chases the terrorist.
Yeah, a terrorist.
A terrorist.
Right? It's a different terrorist.
I think it's
Is it
Because
Alan Rickman?
isn't there the opening terrorist and then there's the rest of the movie terrorist? Or are they related?
I think they're the same terrorist.
Oh. Well, whatever. We should
Anyway.
watch True Lies.
Yeah, it's great.
The guessing time is done. We finally know stuff.
Okay.
We finally know stuff.
Okay.
We bet that the McLean's relationship would be healthier than any relationship in Love Actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to say yes.
He's got a whole arc.
Yeah. because they have an argument, but he immediately regrets the actions he's taken.
Mm-hmm.
And
then,
how do we know that?
because he tells himself.
Okay.
He tells himself a lot of things. At least at that point, he has a mirror.
Yeah, that's
Like
true.
at that point, he actually has a mirror. So
Yeah.
that's a little.
Yeah, he talks to himself a lot
Yeah.
in this movie. I think it works.
I think it works,
I think
too.
it works.
Yeah.
I have heard someone who works in the industry,
The business.
the business,
Mm-hmm.
say that apparently it's an acting habit he has developed.
What does that mean?
That when they would edit his film,
Yeah.
they would notice that he would sort of narrate as he was doing it. Like he would be like, we're running down the street. I got my hand on his shoulder and we're running.
Oh, like when he doesn't have a line of dialogue?
Yeah.
He's just doing stuff?
Yeah. So I don't know. Like I kind of wonder if where art meets life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They were just lead into it. We can't stop you.
It's like, Bruce, just remember your name is John in this, okay?
What are you doing, Bruce, John, whoever I am? You're a sitcom actor. God damn it.
But I will say,
that's what it
like,
was.
I mean, I know, him talking to himself wasn't the most seamless, but I really liked it. And I liked how he was more Jason Bourne than James Bond. In that you watch, I got it right.
Yeah, I was going to say,
wrote
let's
it
take a
down.
moment.
See the focus in
Yeah,
her
let's all
face.
take a moment to appreciate that Molly got those right this time.
And
True
how
Totes heads.
hard the gears turned
Yeah.
to make it happen.
Okay, so what are you saying? He's more like,
Jason Bourne.
yeah, why?
Because he has to figure it out in real time, and
Yes.
you don't feel confident that he'll smoothly figure it out.
Yeah, that I think is part of the reason this movie is good, like engaging, and also probably why it was so popular is because the whole idea is that he's just like, like in air quotes, a regular guy. You
Yeah.
know, like he's a New York cop, but he's still like, this isn't what New York cops normally do.
Yeah.
You
I
know?
mean, he's NYPD,
Yeah,
the best police in the biz.
sure. Is it? Is that
I
true?
don't- I don't know.
Great question. And I think that was I didn't see them, but I think that was the main criticism of like the newer ones, like the
Oh.
years later, let's make more ones. 'cause
He
it was-
turns into Superman.
yeah, and it's like he's still supposed to be technically a cop or whatever, but suddenly he's like driving motorcycles into helicopters
Yeah.
or whatever.
It's
Oh.
amazing.
You've seen him?
That's like Die Hard 4 or 5. Yeah, he
Yeah.
jumps.
Is that the one with the Matt guy?
I think so.
Which one
Okay.
is With a Vengeance?
That's
4.
3?
Oh wait, 3.
3 with Sam Jackson.
Yeah, that's With a Vengeance.
Where they do a water puzzle.
What? I don't remember that part.
Yeah, they have
Wait, what?
they have 2 jugs. They're solving some terrorist's riddle. And it's like you have a 3-gallon jug and a 5-gallon jug.
Take the 5-gallon jug.
Solved.
Oh, okay.
All right,
Well,
yep, that's how it works.
Sorry,
that movie.
whatever.
Okay, this is a really weird sidebar.
Wait,
but
no.
that-
What do you do with the jugs?
How do you get exactly 4 gallons of water in one of the jugs?
They have to figure this out.
Yeah.
I need to see this movie again.
Yeah.
Don't you take the 5 one and you put it in the 3 one, and then you have 2 in the 1, and then you take, I don't know.
I think you're on your
I
way
thought
there.
as I kept going, I would figure it out, but I
Yeah.
didn't.
I think
and
you're down the
so-
right
I think you're on the right path.
Yeah.
Sidebar: that movie has one of my dad has this thing where like certain lines in movies stay with him for decades, and sometimes he'll just mutter them to himself and laugh aloud because like they still entertain him. And that is Die Hard with a Vengeance has one of those where he is, I don't remember what is happening, but he and Sam Jackson are driving a car and having dramatic, almost killing people because they're trying to drive a car through a place where cars don't go.
Yeah.
And Sam Jackson says, "Are you trying to hit these people?" And John McClane says, "No," and then thinks about it and says, "Maybe the mime." And my dad, for years, would just go, "Maybe the mime," like for no reason, like, just randomly in life.
Just again
That's
thinking
all.
about killing mimes.
Yep.
Just
Anyway,
trying
that's
to
not
do
this
art.
movie. That's
Yeah, this movie has someone doing coke, nailed it,
Oh yeah.
who
Beardo.
Beardo Cokehead Ellis, I
Ellis,
believe his
yeah.
name is. Like ahead of his time on that beard, I feel like. That's like a
Yes.
modern hip man beard.
Yeah,
Um,
contrasting his contemporary super shoulders suit.
I feel like the 80s was a time of beards.
was it?
I don't know. I was a child.
Tweet at his
Yeah,
beard
but,
heads.
like-
Ooh, yeah.
Hashtag
My dad
Wyndham
had a
beard
beard.
cool.
But
Oh,
did he
sorry,
have-
I stepped on your hashtag.
Oh, that's the
okay.
grossest sentence I've ever heard. Say it out.
Yeah, but your dad was a dad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is a dad beard.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
Yeah, I think it was a really clean cut until like the George Michael days of the early 90s, right? Where the sort of light beard came in.
Was this right around that time though? Like, would this movie have been made right when George Michael and his very thin beard had like come into
yes.
fashion?
Yeah.
But this guy's
But
got
look
like
at a thick, gross beard. I think to accentuate how gross he was.
It wasn't that thick.
It
Though.
wasn't a gross beard. It was just a full beard.
It was full, but it was like very shorn. Like it was kept at a very deliberate length all across the face.
It was well taken care of.
but like,
Do you feel
I
like
don't
the beard? Okay, so do you think the beard was like a choice, or like did he just have the beard?
oh, the actor?
Yeah.
Great question.
I don't know. If you played Ellis in Die Hard,
Yes, yes.
please either tweet at us or tell Channing Tatum to tweet at us
Yeah.
with if you had that beard IRL or not.
Hashtag. I don't know. Hashtag real beard.
Hashtag real beard. Love it.
Whatever. He was great. I at one point said aloud, like, "What is your life?" when he was on screen because he was like super coked up and paranoid. And then at one point, when the cops were coming, he just like laughed and said like, I wrote it down or something. He's like, "Oh, I never thought I'd love to hear that sound." It's like, what do you do in your off hours?
Yeah, that the cops are after
He's
him
a
all the time.
party animal.
I guess because
man.
yeah, he's introduced as being like, "Hey, John McClane's wife, do you want to go bang later?"
Yeah.
Basically.
And then he's banging with another lady.
I thought that was a different guy.
No,
Oh, different guy?
it's just a
think
different
so.
guy.
Oh,
That guy's
okay,
got
never
no
mind.
beard.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah. Maybe the beard is like to make him more distinct against all the other like
Oh, all the
Yeah.
hostages.
suits.
That actually
Yeah.
might be what it is.
Yeah.
That makes sense. And honestly, though, I did have a moment of sympathy for him, and just one. And it was when I realized that he was running out of his cocaine high in the middle of a hostage situation.
Ooh, yeah, that was.
And I just thought, I don't know if I'd want to be amped up on coke and having to sit in a lobby for several hours, like as a hostage.
Yeah, and he re-ups that coke.
He does.
Yeah.
Like he does more coke while he's a hostage.
That was a bad.
I
move.
feel like really bad move,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like your adrenaline level must already be so high.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and I guess maybe that's what inspires him to think he can negotiate. Which, first of all, it's America. You can't negotiate with terrorists. I'm pretty sure that was a major theme
Yeah.
of this film.
Good point.
Oh, do you think that's where they got it from? Do you think? Do you think the federal government saw this movie and was like, "Oh,
Oh, we
Yeah.
can't do that. But yeah, he essentially talks himself into being shot.
yes"? But he talks himself in such an '80s business guy way, and it's
Yeah.
amazing.
Hey, Hans, Bubby.
Business is business, and then he makes a lot of weird, like racist remarks to like get in with them, which
Yeah.
was weird.
Yeah.
And is there a finger gun involved?
There's
at
so.
some point?
Oh, I mean,
Yeah.
I want to.
If you think about it, like, I mean, this is an international group of terrorists.
Yes.
And he manages to insult every nation
Yeah.
in
And he's
with one
also-
sentence.
Isn't he introduced as like managing international
Yes.
accounts?
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
why he's so confident. He's like, "Oh, I can't negotiate with a couple of terrorists.
Yeah.
Big bang! I'm converting yuan every day." or whatever.
I make $1 million deals before breakfast.
Yeah.
But he didn't say in what time zone.
Oh.
Good point.
Mhm.
Do you think that's what his next line is?
That's what tripped him up.
Yeah. Anyway, he was terrible, but also like he didn't deserve to die.
Yeah.
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 And speaking of deserving or not deserving, the fact that it was a Christmas Eve party.
Yeah.
It wasn't just a corporate party. It was a corporate party on Christmas Eve.
Yeah, like those kids are at home with
Paulina.
Paulina on Christmas Eve without their parents because they have to be in the office.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really
Boo.
doesn't, like, offices aren't usually open on, right?
I mean, there was that weird line where John McClane was like something about like, "Oh, I didn't even think you celebrated Christmas in Japan," and the guy basically made kind of like a maybe only half joking statement of just like, "Oh, that's how we got you back for Pearl Harbor." So it might be
Yeah.
literally the head of the company in Japan was just like, "Fuck it, have the party on Christmas Eve."
I don't know.
Yeah.
But you just would have to, and there's a pregnant lady.
I mean, it was implied they were probably going home pretty soon because McClane was there to meet her, to like not be there anymore, I assume.
I guess maybe in the 80s they just did things differently. Now, if you have a holiday party, you have it on like December 12th.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then the rest of the month you have off. Because it's like, oh, no one's going to be in.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that's my work experience.
I would
sounds
always
incredible.
try to come in the
Well.
week between Christmas and New Year because nobody was around.
Yeah.
And you got all this credit for being there, but it was the most relaxed week of the year.
Sure.
So I recommend it,
Pro tip.
depending on your work situation.
Hot work tips from Totes
Oh.
Recall.
Speaking of hot work tips
Ooh.
and this movie and Argyle, I had completely forgotten that back in my corporate days.
Oh,
I
for the
used-
listener, Argyle is the limo driver.
Oh, he's a limo driver and he's so sweet. It's his first limo driving experience. He tells us right away. And it allows for, I think there was a bet that it allows for a lot of exposition.
Yeah,
first.
I wrote
Yeah.
down that all of the service workers in those first couple scenes are just like spewing exposition, like guy on plane, limo driver, security guard, like everyone McClane interacts with is just like, oh, let me push this conversation in a place where we can explain your background a little bit.
Yeah, it's really efficiently done.
It is. Like when the security guard's like, oh, they're on the 30th floor. No one else is in the building.
Yeah.
Here's a fun fact for you.
Also, we found out your wife changed her last name.
Yeah. Ooh,
Oh.
That will prove irksome and helpful.
indeed. Anyway.
Because if she hadn't,
Oh, yeah.
they would have pieced it together a lot sooner.
Way quicker.
Right? Okay. Well, anyway, so I used to work in a corporate setting, and there was a car service that was always used by all of the executives.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually some of us more underling style executives would also use this car service.
Like in secret, or it was okay?
No, it was like it was among the vendors that was accepted. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, there's certain ones that are approved. But what you realized is you could order a different or you could request a car from a different company, but you would miss out on all of the amazing gossip and insight from the drivers
Oh.
because the drivers are
Oh.
driving around all of the
Bigwigs.
executives. And so if they were, there would be times where they'd say, oh, doing more and more trips out to the private airfield, I guess so-and-so and so-and-so don't like to fly commercial.
Oh.
And you get all kinds of insight into things. Although my all-time favorite comment is me and this other guy were getting a ride to the airport, and the person who founded the company, whose relationship with the CEO was part of the reason why it was the way that it was driving us and chatted with us and asked us what we did. And when we told him, he said, I like driving the little people sometimes.
Ah.
And he was right. We were definitely little people.
But
in
then
that.
was he also like, oh, so you guys married? And then just laid out your personal life in like 5 minutes flat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Argyle's great.
Argyle's great. He gets trapped in the basement
Oh, poor
parking
guy.
garage. There's actually a really good shot with him of like the cop car, Winslow's cop car, I think, driving past him or
Yeah.
something, and just in the background, and he's just partying in the limo.
With the teddy bear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, there is definitely a teddy bear.
It's
in this
enormous.
movie, and it's huge.
Yeah.
I can't believe it was a question. But nothing gets shot through it.
No, I thought it was going to be like in play for the
Yeah.
action.
Yeah. It gets in a car crash.
It does. They should have done a quick shot of the bear, like strapped in with a
Yeah.
seatbelt.
Oh, I would
Aw.
appreciate it with this little bandage around its bare head. That would have been cute. I mean, implausible, but really cute.
Sure.
Oh, other surprise. Speaking of Christmas gifts, this movie passed the Bechdel Wallace immediately.
hard.
Yeah, like aggressively.
Yeah.
So good.
Ginny.
It passed once, and then it passed again.
Yeah.
And it was rounding the corner to get a triple.
We were so excited.
We were really on the
I
edge of
think
our
it
seat.
did, but
I
it just
don't
didn't do
know.
it in the amount of time that we wanted it to.
Yeah,
do
that's
it.
true. Let's just break it down.
Okay.
Okay. She walks in the office. Ginny stopped working, and then she says something about having a drink.
Yeah.
Like, can I have a drink? I'm pregnant, or something. It's a joke of just like, oh, maybe just a little scotch. Ha 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 ha. Then immediately picks up the phone, calls Lucy McClane, McLean residence. It's adorable.
Mm-hmm.
And they just talk about, I don't know, Christmas and I'm coming home soon, but I'm stuck at this party because my corporate overlord scheduled it on Christmas Eve. Then she's like, let me talk to Paulina. Boom, 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 naming all these women. Paulina picks up the phone. We're on the edge of our seat. And then he says something, I don't know, they ask about like Mr. McLean.
Is Mr. McLean coming
Yeah.
back too? Should I make up the
So close.
guest room? Yeah. Real close. There's a later line in there where you could make the argument for like they greeted each other and that counts. But yeah, great.
It was great.
I was also surprised that the head of the company, the Japanese businessman, was just a normal dude who was Japanese.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not like a stereotype.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was worried.
Yeah.
And they give his whole backstory, so we know he moved to America when he was 2.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they did
you
talk about like
That's why he
terrorist
doesn't have a Japanese accent.
exposition.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you think that was for the American audience of the 80s sake, where they're just like, how come this guy doesn't sound Japanese?
Yeah, where's his weird teeth sticking out? I
Right.
don't understand.
It honestly might have been. Like, when they were writing the script, like, ooh, we got to explain why this guy's just a normal person.
Why we made the choice not to make this guy an egregious stereotype.
I was nervous at the beginning, though, because when they first cut to the Christmas party, he was speaking Japanese to a couple other people. I'm just like, oh, no, is he just going to have, like, 3 lines, and they're all going to be, like, just very, I don't know. It could have gone worse, is what I'm saying.
Well, except for then he gets shot in the head.
Well, sure.
Sure, I mean, for the character, things go badly.
Yes.
But for the characterization of him, things go pretty well.
Yeah.
very well.
Okay, good point.
Although he does have some samurai armor in the vault, but like, that's fine.
Every corporate guy
Yeah.
does.
Who doesn't have
He
their
also
ancestral
kinda-
armor?
Yeah, it had like a weird like art gallery upstairs in the building.
Sure.
Yeah,
I mean,
Every
it's all their
CEO does,
treasures.
right?
It's rich business time.
Exactly.
Sure.
I don't know what's going on. The
Yeah.
80s.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. The 80s. Everyone had money. Everyone's buying art left and right.
Yeah, everyone was doing great.
Doing
All
coke.
people.
All people were doing amazing in the 80s. USA #1.
Yeah, shining beacon on the hill.
hmm The wall was soon to come down.
Yeah,
Big shoulder pads.
big shoulder
Great
pads.
shoulder pads.
Whoa.
Incredible haircuts.
Floppy lady ties.
Floppy
Though we
lady
didn't see any of this. I
Not
know,
one.
Molly, you always like seeing a good floppy lady
That's
tie.
true.
I feel like we
No one had a floppy lady
I
tie?
didn't see
No.
any.
It was a little past.
This is a little late.
I think
for
it was
that.
early 80s that the floppy.
Okay.
That was sort of the bridge between the blouses that had the tie on them and the working world. So that was early 80s.
But I would say the European terrorist outfits more than made up for the
Oh
lack
my
of
God.
floppy lady ties.
Oh my God.
They're
I-
so good.
Just their whole look. When they first walked into the building, I just wrote down Hans Gruber and his gang of haircuts.
Yeah,
Like,
they've all got
they've
distinct
all got,
looks.
yeah, they all got their thing. But they're
There's-
all wearing like different versions of loungewear, it seems like.
yeah. So there's the 2 German brothers.
yeah.
The smart one and the impulsive one.
Yes.
Yep.
The smart one is wearing a gray sweatsuit,
Yep.
tight sweatpants,
I've never seen sweatpants that tight
So
before.
tight.
and then just a slightly darker shade sweatshirt. Like
Yeah.
it's not the same color,
Yeah.
but
Like-
it should be.
A little bit of a turtleneck.
Like,
Yeah.
It's like a
Yeah.
mock turtleneck.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's almost like he packed the wrong shirt on accident. Like he was
Yeah.
trying to match, and then when he got there, he's just like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah.
Oh, he's got a pair of pants back that matches that shirt.
Yeah, and Carl's just like, "Just wear them. We gotta go."
Yeah. And glasses because he's the smart one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also like some like black boots, so it looked like he was kind of like prancing around.
Oh
like
yeah,
a-
we theorized that actor is like a trained dancer. 'Cause
Yeah.
the way he like ran around the room trying to kill John McClane had like a certain grace to it.
like I feel like he was less running and more leaping.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
you could recut parts of this movie and make a ballet out of it because even Bruce
Oh.
Willis's John McClane has a moment when he first sees the police coming where he does a
Well, yeah,
jump.
he does that little dance.
He does a little dance and he does a jump straight up like a pirouette
Yeah.
and lands like does almost a full 360.
Do we think Bruce Willis is a trained dancer?
I don't
Channing
know.
Tatum, you I assume know all dancers. Tweet at us.
Now's your time.
Hashtag is that Bruce dance.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, if the next Step Up movie is them stepping up to
To terrorists.
Oh,
to
to
terrorism.
Oh.
Wait, they're doing the terrorism?
No, they're
Oh.
stepping up to it.
Oh,
Stepping
okay.
up.
Like terrorism is happening and
They're
they step up to
taking
it.
it
Yeah.
away from the streets.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I would love that.
That'd be amazing.
Well,
Okay, so we've got the 2 brothers. One of them's a dancer. One of them is like some sort of Frankenstein monster by the end.
Yeah.
He's
also,
great.
like Fabio.
Yeah.
Slash like. No, it's Fabio. Like that outfit is a Fabio outfit.
Yeah, he is like if Fabio, like 20 years later, mutated into the X-Men villain Sabretooth, where he's like an unstoppable killing machine
Yeah.
who has incredible blonde hair.
And his shirt is open like 6 buttons down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like it's like zipped down. It's not buttoned
Oh.
down.
Yeah, that's true.
Because he has a zipper
zipper.
for like the neck, and then there's also an open zipper pocket.
Little pocket.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
I
Amazing.
assume the zipper level is like determines the level of threat he is at that moment. You know what I mean?
Turning it up.
we should actually. I will ask our listeners if they are so inclined to watch this movie and let me know if there is a clear correlation of how dangerous he's acting and where the zipper is on his top.
I mean, it was a plot point that they were wearing European clothes.
Mm-hmm.
I will also say, though, it was so refreshing to me to see men with long hair in action movies because I realized it bothers me just as much when men have long hair and don't do something to pull it back as when women do.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sure.
It makes me insane. Like, I don't do anything without pulling my hair back into a ponytail, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you wouldn't play soccer, much less assassinate people.
Sure, but if you're an invincible Superman like Carl, you probably just figure like it doesn't matter.
But doesn't your hair get in your? I mean, doesn't it
Well,
weaken your ability to?
I mean, if
He's
you're in
that
an
good.
elevator, sometimes it just blows
No,
lightly.
that's so weird. Where was that air coming from?
I have no idea.
Is there a third terrorist just going?
Knock it off, Carl.
And they cut it away before Carl's like, "Stop it! I'm trying to look menacing."
Yeah.
There was one guy who had his hair tied back,
Really?
Yeah,
I
there
missed
was like a
that.
slicked
like
back ponytail.
slick, like
Oh.
tight.
Oh yeah, that was a terrible
That guy was
ponytail.
gross.
It was gross.
Well,
There was
it was better to have their hair down.
there was also one of my MVPs of this movie, which was Candy Bar Terrorist.
Oh, Candy Bar
so
Terrorist.
He
good.
was amazing. They put so much time into showing him staking out his post while eating candy bars that there are shots of him eating different candy bars.
Yeah. And a real missed opportunity to not have him eating another candy bar
Just
like 40 minutes
The
later.
whole
in the
Yeah.
movie.
time. Because they established that he's just going to take candy bars from that
Yeah.
concession stand.
He's hungry.
So he should have just loaded up.
Yeah, that would have been a great character trait.
Would
for
have been like
him.
Gremlins,
Yeah.
right? Like, oh, there's the one that eats candy bars all
Yeah,
the time.
that's how we know. He's the candy bar gremlin.
Clearly, Joe Dante did not.
Did not have his hand was not in this movie.
No.
Yeah.
No.
The hacker guy
Oh,
is
yeah.
wearing like a thick sweater with
Mhm.
a coat over it, like a suit coat over it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Hans Gruber, Alan Rickman, is wearing like 12 full yards of cloth in like just a loose coat,
Yeah.
Oh,
like
the
a billion
pleated
pleated
past.
pants.
Yeah, like if they could have taken the scene where McClane jumps off a building with a fire hose and
Yeah.
instead just had him unravel Hans Gruber's pants,
Yeah.
and it would have had the exact same scene.
Yeah. So good. I love it. I love those pleats. So those Europeans can dress.
Yep.
I also like the character flaw metaphor. Speaking of that, fire scene. No,
What?
fire hose scene.
Yeah.
Fire hose
Yeah.
scene.
Where he ties it around his waist,
Yeah.
and it's a lifesaver.
Yeah.
And not moments later does it become the anchor around his very waist.
Totally.
There's something in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of I feel like there were a lot of moments in this movie that if it were the movie The Rock would have been 12-minute monologues. But there were like definitely some subtext about like, I don't know, like just the way that Powell's like the deputy chief acted and the way the FBI agents acted. Like
Yeah.
there's some subtext there of just like, ooh, the authorities. Right?
I want to talk about that because that happens in movies and maybe of this era. I don't know when, but where the feds come in and they're bad.
They ruin it.
They
Yeah.
ruin it
Yeah.
for the good people who are the police.
Yes.
Why? Like, at what point were we like, the police are good, but the FBI is bad?
I mean, I think on some level, from some cop shows I've seen, part of it is that they no longer have control of the situation, and that's just infuriating because now it's a federal case.
Yeah.
So like they have to answer to the FBI.
Right.
Right, but I also wonder if that doesn't align with the beginnings of mistrust around the government, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like also states' rights.
When
States'
Ooh.
rights. There it is.
But and also too, now that I think about it, it's interesting that the CEO, he wasn't the CEO of the company, but the most senior person in the organization was actually seemed pretty kind and normal and okay.
Yes.
Whereas among the rank and file for city employees and for the police, each tier further up with more authority was more frustrating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just
Because
big
you don't
business.
just have the police versus the FBI, you also have Winston,
Right.
right?
Winslow.
Winslow.
But his name
Damn
is
it.
Powell in this movie.
What?
Al Powell.
What?
Carl Winslow is his character on what show?
On Family Matters.
Matters.
Oh, for Pete's
And his
sake.
real name is
Oh, I looked it up.
something Bell.
Vel Johnson.
Renigold? No. Reginald?
Vel Johnson?
Vel Johnson?
Something like that.
Oh.
It's like Johnson, but there are 3 letters at the beginning.
Which is
It's-
amazing.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been getting it doubly wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
That's
I'm not-
fine.
yeah,
it's this
like-
show.
we get things wrong all the
Like
time.
the whole show. Like,
But anyway, he was the only good guy.
yeah. Yeah.
And
I
then
mean,
it
it,
was just
it
degrees
was
of bad.
implied that his like fellow cops were probably also fine, but they didn't get any lines.
Yeah.
So
Well,
Yeah.
I think is it a commentary on like the more authority or power that you have, the less connected you are with other people?
probably because there was definitely a point where the feds were literally like, it's okay if 20% of the hostages are killed.
Yeah.
Also, I'm going to put on this really dumb looking hat and pick up an assault rifle and mention that I was in Vietnam.
Yeah.
And get excited
It's
about shooting people from a helicopter.
Crazy.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Not only does he put a crazy hat on,
Yeah.
he puts it on back.
Oh, yes, I should
Yeah.
make it clear.
Yeah.
He makes
Very
sure it is
important.
brimmed in the back.
Yeah.
I think that might be a real sniper thing to keep their hair out of their eyes.
Oh, sure. Did he?
See?
Well, he's a federal agent. I mean, he's not a German super terrorist who I assume was born in a Nazi lab.
Yeah.
That dude is a
presumably.
super soldier. And we learn he's a super soldier because you think he's dead for like the last 12 minutes of the movie, and then something just
yeah.
emerges from somewhere.
It's like a monster movie.
It's amazing.
the,
It
like,
really
the
is.
final
Yeah.
jump scare of a monster.
Yeah, it's like Powell needs just a little more character development.
Which is, I don't know if he did. Like, it was weird that, like, at the same time that they're saying, like, oh, the federal government, they're psychopaths, they also felt like they needed to, like, give him closure with murdering someone with his service rifle.
Yeah.
Right?
But he has to be vulnerable so that he and John McClane can connect.
Sure.
Sure, but
So
he doesn't.
something-
I'm saying, like, why does his arc have to, why is the final moment in his arc successfully killing someone else with his police weapon?
So that we know he's a real man.
He's a real cop.
It's
Yeah.
called Die Hard, not Family
yeah.
Matters.
Matters.
Although he's about to have some family matters because his wife's pregnant, and we thought he might have been lying at
You
first.
thought
okay,
he might have been
Yeah,
Dan
lying.
and
I never thought he was.
I
Dan
lying.
and I
understood.
thought he might have been lying.
Yeah.
Because we first meet him in a convenience store. He's getting a shit ton of, like, I don't know, baked goods and shit.
It's donuts.
It's other shit
Yeah.
too, because the guy's like, I thought you guys only ate donuts, so
Yeah,
it's got to be
so
other
it's
crap.
not donuts, but it's like donuts.
Oh, it's probably like Hostess
Like a
stuff.
bagel.
It's Hostess stuff because that's why he knows all the ingredients of Twinkies.
Oh
later.
yeah, he's big into Hostess.
But he has this weird
Pancakes.
exchange where, like, as Dan put it, he wasn't sure if it was just two fat guys with an understanding.
That's the way it played to me. They're both like, "No, I get it. Yeah, you get it, buddy." I also say that I have a pregnant wife and I could buy 40 Twinkies and it's fine. That's the way that scene read to me.
But apparently it's real. He
yeah.
has a pregnant wife because he says it more than once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do think he might have to kill that guy so that we don't see him just hug another man.
Oh, God. Yeah, maybe.
I'm worried that's why.
Yeah, me too.
Aw, it was a good hug.
It was
though.
good.
It was a
It
great. I
was.
mean, their relationship was great because it was like only, like it was macho, but in a very like subtle, like these are actually like real people macho. It wasn't just like, yeah, brother, I also have a gun and
I would say that
exert my
relationship
authority.
was 1,000 times better than any relationship in Love Actually.
Yeah.
Also,
no question.
yeah.
I would have watched those two have.
Or any relationship in Phantom Menace. Now I'm thinking about it.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
I can't
R2D2,
even think of one
C-3PO.
relationship in that movie.
C-3PO misses his master after he abandons him on Slave Planet.
Yeah. I mean, there's the mom who loves her child.
Oh, right.
She was good.
We're gonna rehash Phantom Menace
And
again.
then Anakin, who was
I-
creepy towards
An older.
older women when they bang later.
Yeah,
Oh.
not in that movie though.
No.
Not that movie.
Ooh.
We'll get to it, sadly.
Yeah,
No, we will
yeah,
not.
we will.
Oh,
yes,
we
we
will.
will.
No.
Yes, we will.
Oh,
Whenever
I
that
will
Han Solo
not.
spin-off comes off,
Yep.
we gotta watch Attack of the Clones.
Mhm.
What?
Yeah,
Are
that's
you for
how we're doing
serious
it.
Right? No.
Okay, then we're watching
Yes.
Homeward Bound, Milo and Otis.
Shut up. Shut your face.
I don't know, some other
Shut
movie
your
where a
Old
dog.
Yeller.
No.
Yes.
Where
Oh.
the red fern grows.
Yep.
Oh, you bastards. I am not watching that. I'm
Okay.
going to bring a book.
Just bring your phone like you always do.
Yeah.
Anyway, Die Hard.
You know what? Molly was not really on her phone that much during
Yeah.
Die Hard.
No,
No.
I noticed that.
I feel like she enjoyed it.
Except for that moment where she was having a great time while they were being violent towards each other, but then immediately turned on the movie when there was a close-up shot of the consequences
Yeah.
of reckless gunplay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was intense.
I mean, it was.
It was
Someone's knees
essentially
just
like
got
just
yeah.
explode.
obliterated.
Yeah, it's like essentially if like the
Oh.
kneecaps were like fireworks.
Yeah.
It was horrifying.
But also, like, that's how guns work,
Yeah.
and maybe we should
Listen,
acknowledge that
I
sometimes.
understand, but up to that, it was just a bunch of holes and
Oh, yeah.
walls and broken glass.
For sure.
And even when John McClane brutally murders terrorists, he does it not usually with a firearm,
Right.
I have to say, watching this with modern eyes, I feel worried about gunfire in a way that I think growing up, I would just sort of let it wash over
Yeah.
me.
Yeah,
It's
for
like,
sure.
oh, that's what terrorists do. And now I'm like, well, shit.
Yeah, I did feel uncomfortable like at the beginning when they're like when they all are like putting their guns together, it like made my shoulders like kind of inch up. I was like, ugh.
Yeah.
And then I forgot about it because it's a movie.
I mean, also
but
the hair was distracting.
yeah, like there were other elements that I was holding on to. Yeah.
But yeah, when all the hostages are corralled at the beginning, I was like, oh, yeah, I can't watch these movies the same way anymore.
Let's actually take a moment. Because at first I thought the guy who took over for security desk was just pretending to be
Oh, yeah.
American. But then by the end, I thought maybe he was actually American.
Yeah, it was not clear.
Yeah, because he like America's himself up
Like,
pretty
hard.
when he's pretending to be the.
He's
But
like,
so
I
does-
love football.
Cowboy boots.
Yeah.
But so does Hans.
Right,
Hans
but
McGruber.
that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm not sure.
Or
But yeah,
Grubby.
but
Just
then,
Gruber. Just Gruber.
Grubby.
Nick
but then
Grubbs.
later, Front Desk America Joe #1
Yeah.
Yeah.
is like the jig is up,
Mm-hmm.
but he's still got like he's still being American. Is
Yeah.
he just like loving it so much that he can't drop it?
I think
or
so.
that was he's like the face of their group. and
Yeah,
they just hired
maybe.
him because he's a smooth talking American boy.
Well, because he and the hacker, who I think was also supposed to be American, were
Yeah.
the first ones in the building.
Yeah,
So maybe they were like their American contacts or something.
sure.
Because it was an international group of super robbers or whatever.
Yeah, they don't really give backstory on him. I mean, a little bit of Hans. He was like part of some group, and I stopped paying attention as soon as the news covered was talking.
Didn't matter.
Yeah, but then he also wasn't with that group anymore.
Yeah.
So I guess they're just like they are just robbers,
Just assholes.
Yeah, they've
Yeah.
gone rogue.
which is fine, simple.
Yeah.
You don't need a whole
I think
thing.
that's another reason I like this movie is that it does turn out that like they are literally just like it's just theft and they're just big assholes.
Yeah.
Doesn't it seem like, though, the FBI would be called in sooner?
I mean, I think they.
I mean, they should have been called in like immediately, but for some reason,
Oh right.
Oh,
nobody
Dispatch?
believes. Yeah, dispatch doesn't believe
Why
anybody.
Has it gotta be women who don't believe? And also, I felt like that was such a 24 hours moment, or 24, you know, with
the TV show 24.
TV show 24.
Okay.
Where you've got this red state guy who just wants to get things done
He's from
and
New York
stop.
City.
Yeah. Oh, not red state from where he's from, but red state in his cultural values. There are TV shows that are red state and TV shows that are blue state.
I feel like
TV
that's
shows.
maybe simplifying it a little too much.
You're dividing our country
Okay,
right now.
I would say go
It's-
back and
it's a
watch
divisive
24 and
country.
tell me.
Oh, I'm not saying
if
no.
This guy isn't like basically the NRA embodied.
It's a
and he's just
neocon's
trying
wet
to
dream.
get
I wouldn't
stuff
necessarily call it
done.
a red state
Yeah.
show though.
And then anybody who's an obstacle is weak and lame in some way. It's usually some spineless, like physically small, pale, federal bureaucrat who says stuff like, you can't torture people.
Right.
It doesn't work.
Right.
And Jack Bauer's like, I'm just going to hit this guy in the face 4 times, then he'll tell us where the codes are.
Yeah.
And it works.
Right.
I felt that
Where are we
in
going
this
with
movie
this?
too.
The whole movie?
No, just that part with the dispatch.
Oh, sure.
That John McClane's trying to get stuff done,
Mm-hmm.
and it's silly 2 women who are high on their authority and power who
Couple
tell
of
him
desk
no.
jockeys.
Yeah, and if you think about all of the roles that could have been embodied by women, I don't know. I found it irritating.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed. It was
I mean,
very frustrating.
I would have also, it was irritating. The women. It was irritating that those characters existed at all.
Yeah.
That they were 911 operators that didn't believe someone.
But they weren't 911.
Oh, who were they?
They were like FCC frequency
No.
dispatch.
No,
They were
they
still
were.
police dispatch. He was just going over the radio rather than calling 911.
Oh,
so he
so
was
you wanted
breaking
them to hang
into
up.
the
Oh.
police channel, and they were like, "Get off this channel." And then they're like, "If it's an emergency, call 911." So they were police dispatch, but he had superseded the procedure of calling 911.
Well, and I suppose he did not help his case with all that profanity
He did
and not saying something like, "Hey, I'm a police
couldn't.
officer."
He couldn't give up the deets to
Yeah.
Hansi.
yeah.
I feel like he gave up enough deets though for them to be like, "Oh shit, we gotta send somebody."
Yeah.
But they also had to set up the scenario where they could throw a body onto
Right.
Winston's car.
Oh. Yeah, like it was weird, and maybe I don't know. Maybe part of this is just like seeing the movie from this era. Like it was weird that a guy would be like, "There are terrorists holding 30 people hostage," and then being like, "Is this a prank?" Whereas like now, you could just say that on Facebook, and suddenly your house would be surrounded.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good point.
Oh,
So I don't know if
jeez.
part of that is just our modern lens being like, "That's ridiculous," but it does still seem weird that they were like so dismissive
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah.
They're like,
I think that
just
was-
send Powell. Ah."
Maybe that was supposed to convey that it happened all the time.
What? Oh, people being like, "Oh, there's
People
a."
calling.
Oh, there's so many hostages in
Yeah,
my
I feel
house.
like
I
with,
mean-
like these. No, but I think that's like the smallest little addition
Yeah,
would have, I think, set that context up better.
yeah. I mean, LA be crazy, so
Yeah.
maybe that does happen all the time.
Yeah, and we know it's crazy because John McClane says it's crazy all the time.
Yeah, little California.
And
Ugh.
also is like ogling women
Like
nonstop.
Whoa.
Right. That's like how we meet
Actually,
him.
like, why does he do? Why was that a thing that they had at the top of the movie?
Him ogling ladies?
Yeah, because it doesn't ever come into play afterward, and it seems to be a trait that just goes away because he loves his wife.
Yeah. I think it's so he could have a larger arc
Yeah,
of redemption.
there.
Okay.
So he goes from being an ogling, angry man who doesn't understand and doesn't support his corporate wife.
Yeah.
To the end saying he's sorry.
For the
Okay.
first time
All right.
ever, apparently.
Yeah, for the first time ever, which is like,
Whoa. It was a
I'm
cool
sure
line,
there were
but
opportunities.
That's why he's so heartbroken when
Yeah.
he realizes that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. There was, I don't know. Like it seemed like maybe there was the slightest implication that he had been unfaithful to her at one point, because
Through
when
the
they're-
ogling?
through the ogling, and then also when they're having that argument before he talks to himself in the mirror, where she's like, "Oh, like you could tell me like what a marriage is supposed to be," or something like that. But that also could have just been like, "Oh, he's married to the job. He's got a
Yeah.
backlog of 6 months of thugs," or whatever he said.
does, scumbags.
Scumbags.
Yeah, I took that more to mean he's selfish and
Yeah.
doesn't think of her in the relationship and only thinks
Which
of
also
himself.
might be what the ogling was about
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, it is a little jarring because that's the sort of thing, and I love movies that do this,
Yeah.
or the way movies that establish people that are good or bad.
Yes.
And this is a total, like, this is a bad man move. Like, this is the kind of behavior we would see from a new stepdad that we needed to know was bad and would get rid of later, right? So we would know and feel fine about it when
Yeah.
they get crushed by a boulder or
Right.
whatever.
Oh, like San Andreas?
Yeah,
Okay.
right? He doesn't ogle.
That one was
he
confusing.
abandons
We can
the
talk
children.
about that. Like
Sorry.
that could be like maybe that should be some bonus content at one point where we just discuss the confusing stepdad role in San Andreas.
Yeah.
I have so much to say about it.
But they do that, but then he's a good man.
Yes. But he's a conflicted.
Yeah.
It's nuance.
I think it's more nuanced. Yeah.
It's pretty nuanced.
Yeah.
And I mean, the symbolism of in the very last scene, in order to save her very life, just as he was being pulled down the side of the building previously by the fire hose.
Yeah.
She is getting pulled down by a terrorist who's grabbed a hold of her Rolex. It's like identical.
Yeah.
And she has to let go of the rich corporate life.
Ooh, wait a minute.
In order to
survive.
She's got to let go of her corporate accomplishments.
Yeah. Or the Rolex that was a gift.
Well, and then
wasn't-
she reclaims his last name. So I kind of wonder if there's like
Aw.
some.
She reclaims McLean.
But that's
Yes.
after he accepts it, right? He introduces her as Holly Genevieve.
Genevieve.
Yeah,
Gennaro.
it's true.
So then she's like,
So maybe they just have a conversation while Argyle's just like quietly driving to them to their house. Just be like, ooh, I should not be here for this.
yeah. Anyway.
I mean, maybe they explain it in Die Hard 2. Maybe there's a half an hour opening of the movie where
Yeah.
there's no action, no terrorists, and we just learn about how they worked through their marriage.
I don't remember how his relationship goes through the movies, other than it seems like it's always on the rocks, right?
Probably, right?
Like there's definitely a scene in one of them, maybe 3, where he's tied up and he really needs Advil because he's had a headache all day. That's a running line in one of these movies.
Okay.
But then he's like again calling his wife to apologize.
Ugh.
It's like Die Hard 3.
Probably. I mean, you got to
Should
watch that.
apologize for becoming superhuman and
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, Die Hard 3's whole deal is like playing the hits, I feel like. Like, that's the whole point of that movie is like, hey, remember how much we enjoyed these movies? Here is all of the things we liked again. Because,
Yeah.
like, spoiler alert, the villain is Hans Gruber's brother getting revenge.
Yeah.
What?
Played
Yes.
by Jeremy Irons.
Jeremy
Wait, that
Irons.
sounds like Die Hard with a Vengeance.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah,
I'm
it's
talking
Die
about.
Hard 3.
Oh,
What were you talking about?
Die Hard 2.
Die
Well,
Hard 2's in an airport.
I've literally never seen Die Hard 2.
There's an airplane involved.
I heard it's the
And
bad
she's in
one
danger.
or something.
Yeah.
She's in danger? Mm-hmm. What's her last name, though?
Ah.
That's the question. What's on her boarding pass?
Gruber.
What? She married Hans Gruber after he came back to life because we learned that all those terrorists are
Yeah.
immortal.
Yeah,
Cool. That'd be amazing.
pretty good movie.
Yeah, that sounds incredible.
Speaking of Die Hards,
Ooh.
why is this movie called Die Hard?
Because he dies hard.
Does he?
Well, no.
Other people
You
do.
would have to try really hard to get him to die, and he won't.
Ooh, like it's hard for him to die, maybe.
Yeah. Or it's like, it's like Die Hard, like a Die Hard battery.
Isn't Die Hard like that's the ending of a saying, like something
Oh.
something dies hard, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Is
there
it?
was a battery slogan.
Yeah, but that can't be what they're referencing, right?
No, but I mean, the battery slogan is referencing something.
If you know why this movie is called Die Hard, tweet at us, why that Die Hard?
Why did Die Hard?
And if you're
But
Channing
it's like
Tatum,
a
of
compliment
course. What?
to equipment that you want to last.
It dies hard.
Yeah.
It's hard for it to die.
But you call it Die Hard, but that's shorthand for
Yeah.
it's hard for it to die.
Yeah. Like I'm aware of the
Okay.
term. I've heard the term as a thing.
Really?
Yeah, but I don't.
Like he's a Die Hard fan
Yeah.
of football.
Right. Which
Yeah.
seems like that's implying another thing,
yeah.
though. I don't know. What?
I'm just trying to put words.
Ravioli.
Ravioli.
No,
Should
like
be
a
RD.
ravenous fan
Yes.
with an
Okay.
insatiable appetite
Yeah.
for
They
football.
should have called this movie Insatiable. I don't know what he's insatiable about, but
Maybe this.
It would be so different.
not
Okay,
dying.
that should be the cut of the choreography and all of the
Oh,
yeah.
action scenes. It should be called Insatiable Die
Okay.
Hard.
Oh,
And it's just tight sweatpants,
Yep.
brother,
yeah.
dancing in
Shirtless.
half-constructed building.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Now that you say Die Hard fan, I recognize it as a term that exists, and it makes perfect sense to me.
Does it though? Still, in this
Yeah.
context?
Yeah,
Okay.
as he goes through a lot of shit.
Like he's a
it's
diehard
New York City
New York cop.
because he gets the shit beat out of him. I think that's another reason people like this movie, right? Because
Yeah.
he feels, as we talked about, he feels like a actual human.
Like he gets hurt.
Because he gets very hurt. That's those feet, right?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh,
Yeah.
Iconic DVDs.
And it was like it was cool. Like I liked that moment where, like right at the end, where like they even acknowledge it within the story where like his wife finally sees him and is like horrified
Yeah.
at what he looks like.
But then he aggressively kisses her on the mouth while
Yeah.
he's like sweaty and bloody. Like,
Yeah,
it's
well,
gross.
I mean, I guess you have passion, but like also have some respect.
like also
Yeah.
maybe just like grab a necktie off of one of the dead people and just like give it a quick.
Yeah.
How about a breath mint?
Doesn't he? That's a joke. Who does that joke?
yeah, Winston says
God,
that too.
come on.
It's not his real name. I'm getting so confused.
Powell.
Powell.
Sergeant Powell
Yeah.
says to
Sergeant
deputy
Winston
whatever.
Powell.
No.
Oh, because he's
To
kissing
the
up
yeah.
to someone.
Yeah. Who then tries to get on his side after
Mm-hmm.
the feds are shitting on him, and it's like, brother.
No.
You can't come around me with those eyes.
Oh boy.
I got lost in
Whoa,
that.
whoa,
I got real lost in that.
I talked about this a little bit while we were watching the movie, but like it had to have been so weird I guess now, like when I said it, it was when Powell first showed up and was just like driving his car very slowly and talking into his radio, and how that'd be really weird to just film like as an actor where you're just talking to no one. But like, and I realize now after seeing the movie, that's like half of the movie. Like Gruber, McClane, Sergeant, whatever, like most of their scenes, if you think about it as an actor, like it's just them pretending to talk into a
yeah.
radio.
Yeah.
That's got to be weird. That's
Yeah,
all.
a lot of solo acting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to say. I know it was a charming part of their relationship, McClane and Powell, but McClane kind of teases Powell about his driving and how it's kind of like a street driver, you know what I mean? Like fancy driving or reckless driving or
Yeah.
anything. But the way they actually show it is it just looks like a very nice...
He was talking about when he aggressively backed the car up with a corpse on it and then reversed off of
later,
it. Yeah.
during that
That's
time.
what he meant.
Oh, I thought he...
he wasn't
When
he
was
wasn't
like-
referring to the way he very carefully and deliberately approached the building at the beginning like a professional police officer.
That's what I thought he was talking about.
Because you were thinking, here's a big circle. That's a perfect opportunity to drift.
Oh, right. That's why you were confused.
Yeah.
That's
You're
why
like,
you were
why
just
isn't he
why
drifting
is he
around
drifting right now while eating a bag of potato chips and having incredible hair.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Han, we miss you.
Oh,
Oh, rest in peace.
But he does a great job, as predicted by me, of freaking out when a body falls on
Oh,
his car.
so good.
Really good.
Yeah.
So good. Like, I believe, I think, like, he has this quiet little, like, oh, it's nothing. I'm just going to go home. And then immediately his next scene is just like, Jesus Christ, motherfucker, while he's backing his car up. It's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Good job, Vel Johnson?
Reginald.
You're looking at me like I remember
Johnson.
anything.
I don't know. You're the best source I have.
Earlier, I thought his name was. I couldn't even say Reginald right. Now I can't remember what my
I
mispronunciation
think you said
of it.
Renajold or something.
Reginald Bill Johnson.
Yeah. Ooh, that's a good name.
Yeah, it is.
I have an MVP, a lean-based MVP.
Yes.
The second actual security guard.
Oh, right.
Not the desk guy.
By the elevators.
But the guy by the elevator who John McClane passes and is just like eating nuts or something. But then he just like eats the nuts, gives a nod, and then does a great cross-arm
Ooh,
lean
little
against the
cross-arm,
wall,
yes.
watching him go up the elevator.
Nice. I
Beautifully
didn't even
done.
notice.
Then he gets shot
Yeah.
later.
Yeah.
Or he gets flashbanged and then shot.
Oh, right.
Sorry, what?
Those little hockey pucks that
Oh,
made the...
oh
Called a
yeah.
flashbang.
Okay.
If you read any Tom Clancy novels, you'll learn all about him. Rainbow Six, maybe you've heard of it.
I have. I have heard of it.
There you go.
Well, what I find is you never have to worry about knowing how to feel because this had an old school 1980s score.
Yeah.
Yes, it did.
It was
Yes, it did.
It
aggressive.
almost felt like a Thick Williams
It
score.
very much felt Thick
Yeah.
Williams.
It was intense, like
Yeah.
at every moment.
Which was weird because at the beginning I was surprised at how subtle the title was. Because like you think with this movie it'd be like the words "Die Hard" would fly onto the screen while there's like a crazy whooshing noise, but they actually just like very quietly come onto the screen in just the baggage claim section of the airport.
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's not even like a shot of McClane. It's just like an establishing shot of the
Yeah.
baggage claim.
It's a
And
lady
then
in
it-
white boots.
Yeah, and the words just come on Die Hard, and then they just disappear, and you're just like, oh, okay, that's how we're gonna play it. But then, yeah, later, anytime something's on fire, the score is like freaking out.
Yeah, that title has another one of my MVPs in the background of a guy, an elderly gentleman who's
Yes.
doing a great job of having a hard time getting his bag off the carousel. It's an experience I have for sure had. Of
Yeah.
like you've almost got it, and then it falls back down, and you have to like scramble to keep moving sideways while pulling it up. And it's like, yeah. Remember
We've
when
all
we could
been
take
there.
big suitcases on planes?
Don't do it.
We
Don't
could,
do
though.
it.
And we could smoke in airports
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that was weird.
That was weird.
and have a gun.
Just on a plane.
Guess he's a cop.
Yeah, how does that work? How did and does that work right now?
I mean,
as a
I think
country.
you have to be an air marshal now.
I feel like as an off-duty cop, you can't just take a gun on a
on
plane.
a plane? Because then you're crossing out of you're like going out of your jurisdiction, right?
Yeah.
Huh.
Huh.
Well, he's
wonder-
been doing it for 11 years, so
Yeah.
I'm sure it's fine.
Oh, right. That's true. You think that's on his badge? Like, oh, an 11-year badge. I'm so sorry, sir. Please
Yeah.
go right
Once
through.
you get to 10, you can take guns
You-
anywhere.
you can take that's the whole point. Oh, that's what in all cop shows when they're talking about like, oh, I've got my 20, I've got my 10. They just mean I've worked enough years where I'm allowed to take my gun anywhere I want.
Yeah.
That's why you be a cop, so you can have a gun.
America number 1.
Yep. Or 5.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Oh, yeah, I can't
what
remember.
happened to American number 5?
I don't know. I can't remember why we started saying that.
Oh, 'cause-
5 stars.
5's the best rating.
Oh, right. Fair point.
You seem so regretful. Like you're sorry you came up with that bit.
I just feel bad that I wasted the listeners' time with revisiting this conversation
Well,
if
maybe
it's already
there's some
obvious.
new listeners who've
that's
never
true.
heard
Who are just
the
like, oh,
podcast
Die Hard,
before,
yeah.
and they're so confused on why we keep saying USA number 5.
That's true. You're welcome, new listeners.
Whoa.
Hey, anytime any listener wants to find out about a bit,
Yeah,
tweet at us
Oh,
with the
yeah.
hashtag what that bit
absolutely.
and what it is, and if we can remember,
We'll absolutely
Yeah.
tell
give you
you.
a backstory. No guarantees if we know why we say things.
Yeah, but I mean, as we all know, comedy is at its best when you explain it in great detail.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, now you get more characters on your tweets.
Yeah.
So
That's- oh,
I
right.
will use all 280 characters every time.
Wow. Big promises.
Yeah, even if it's just a bunch of salad holes. at
Yeah.
the end.
What?
Oh, do you need an explanation of what salad hole
Oh.
is? You better tweet at us
Yeah.
at
Hashtag
Totes Recall
what that
Pod.
salad hole.
Speaking of weird language, how did we ultimately feel about Hans Gruber's many accents? Which we learned, I did not realize there was more than one. There was going to
Yeah.
be multiple accents from Mr. Gruber.
It wasn't as good as I remembered it being.
Yeah.
Like I think I wasn't thinking about it before, and now that I'm thinking about it, it's not that good.
Yeah.
But it was, I agree. It was also light enough that it wasn't distracting.
Yeah.
Like he wasn't like a little German schoolboy
Right.
eating chocolate all the time. Oh, we are the terrorists.
looking for the barrel bombs. Give us the barrel bombs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give us the code.
Yeah.
The what? Oh, the code.
code.
Right. I forgot that scene.
Maybe that's why they
Mr.
went with the
Takaki, we need your codes.
Yeah, it wasn't that.
It wasn't that.
It was mostly just Alan Rickman occasionally choosing to pronounce certain like syllables in sort of a Germanic way.
And then to show his-
Sentences.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Oh, having Beth with you
Ooh, yeah.
when you watch Die Hard is a real treat.
Yes.
It is anyway, but also she speaks German and
Kind of.
enough.
I mean, you speak
I
Hollywood
mean,
German, clearly.
for
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
I do speak Hollywood German. I should. Yeah, that's what when you get a minor in German,
Yeah.
it's equal to Hollywood,
Hollywood
German. Yeah,
Put that on your resume, please.
yeah, I will.
Fluent in Hollywood German. Yeah, because the terrorists kept shouting at each other as they were going through the hallways. And, like, it's an action movie, so you could probably figure it out. But it was nice to just have that extra bit of
Well,
context.
and the closed captions.
Oh,
Is that
yeah.
what you call it? Closed captions.
Subtitles.
Subtitles.
Technically, they're subtitles.
Okay, sorry. Subtitles were unhelpful. They just said something in German.
Sure, but
Yeah.
that's also, like, how...
We're supposed to experience it as the viewer.
Yes.
Well, we did better than that.
sometimes it put the actual German as subtitles, and sometimes it said speaking German.
Yeah, if it's a... Ooh, we're going to go to a real behind the curtain here. If it is, like, just, like, common phrases or, like, short little exclamations in languages that, like, maybe people like Beth would just know through their journey through the world, it might get transcribed directly.
Like Max Schnell.
Yeah, but otherwise, they'll just put speaking in whatever language.
Yeah. Jumping back to Ali Rick's accents, I will say that if he was purposely not doing a good American accent to be doing the American accent that a German would do,
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
then I think he nailed it.
crushed.
Yeah,
Because it was like good enough.
Yeah,
but to still have some suspicion from John
Yeah.
McClane. Who
He was
does
just
that?
he was like making the R's really hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he probably was doing that because I feel like I must have seen him do a good American accent
Or at least
sometime.
better.
Have I? I don't know.
Oh.
Or is he
Hard.
I mean,
like Die Hard?
Yeah.
Can you just tag that with an "Am I right"?
Yeah.
yeah, we're not clear. Okay,
There we go.
All
You
right,
are
good
right.
joke.
Okay. All right.
Is it even a joke? I don't
I'm
know.
not sure.
It was because she had it in my
Oh,
right
right.
at the
Sorry.
end.
Molly's very tired.
If you don't understand that, tweet at us #salad hole. No,
What's that bit?
#what's that bit?
I can't remember what hashtag Salto was supposed to be.
Well, maybe you should tweet at us.
I should tweet at us?
Yeah, if you want to know.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember what.
Something about like words,
I
you know a
remember.
better thing to say, right?
Yeah.
Something like
Okay. Well, now that we've hinted it, it's
Sorry,
the
cut that out.
hashtag you use when you can think of a better hashtag than the one we provide
Oh.
for a thing to tweet at us.
that. So 100% of the time, probably.
I don't know what that bit's pretty good.
Well, sure. I mean, it explains the situation
Yeah.
pretty well. It's like the Argyle of hashtags.
Yeah. Ooh, Argyle.
So good.
Hashtag Argyle.
I like that one. That was good.
What?
The Argyle hashtags.
Oh,
Am I
thank
right?
you.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay, quick little tangent. We have to take a moment to appreciate the story that contains multitudes between news guy out on the beat and news guy in the studio, because
Oh,
there's this amazing
God.
moment where he's just like, we got to get out there, there's something happening, and the other guy, Harvey, the guy at the desk who like mansplains hard later,
Yeah.
says something and he just goes, eat it, Harvey, and then storms off, and it's great. That's all. But also Harvey's a creep or like a douchebag.
Yeah.
like Harvey.
Harvey's my MVP though,
Oh yes.
because he's like such a like I'm a newscaster.
Yeah.
And then he's like such a dick off like when he's off camera. It's great.
Yeah.
He does a great job.
Is Harvey the anchor?
Yes, he's the guy who's like Helsinki, Sweden, on camera.
There were
Yeah.
so many of them,
And then
though.
they
There's also
correct him.
the crap reporter that threatened to turn Paulina into
Ooh, yeah,
the...
you do not. Okay, you do not step to Paulina. Paulina is
That's right.
taking care of the McLean children
On Christmas
Christmas
Eve.
on Christmas Eve,
She's probably got kids.
Just
or
a
at least like
family?
someone, right? Someone she's close to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez.
They better be paying her
Ooh,
overtime
like
Oh.
crazy.
huge bonus, huge Christmas. I mean,
if they said, "Can you do me a favor and spend time with my family?" and I
Oh.
forget about everything, the McLeans are the villains.
yes,
Yeah.
agreed.
Wait.
That's the real story.
Yep.
Oh, I was gonna go on a Mrs. Doubtfire tangent. That
Yep.
maybe Paulina is one
Is
of,
John McClane?
but I don't know who she would have been in the children's life.
Oh, sure.
Like another like their real father.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. 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 We don't know.
John McClane is the stepdad. That's why he's ogling ladies.
Oh!
Because they have to
It all
establish
makes
he's a
sense.
bad
We've cracked the
stepdad. There's a
code.
different
We've
movie
cracked the code.
where he's a bad stepdad. He might
Yes.
be a good cop and a
Yes.
good husband, but he's a bad stepdad.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we know that it is okay if he dies at some point
Yes.
because he's a bad stepdad.
Also, we should take a moment to appreciate what Dan just said, because that we basically just wrote the tagline for a movie. Like, good husband. What was it? Good husband, good cop, bad stepdad.
Yeah. You could put Bruce Willis in that.
You
sure.
probably could. He'd
For
do it.
sure.
What's he doing? Nothing.
I want to talk about the amount of paper that falls out of the building. In the final, the sort of epilogue of
Yes.
the movie, I guess, where they're all standing around milling about after everything's resolved. It's like a good 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes in real time, and there's paper falling the whole time.
Like, the whole
Just like
time.
loose sheets of paper.
Yeah, like
That's so much paper to fall.
the paper had to have like been shot up like out of the atmosphere and then fallen back to Earth in order to have it still falling.
Let me present this theory to you. Okay, this is a major multinational corporation. It is a
Oh, Molly just let loose the biggest yawn.
the
I've ever
biggest yawn in
seen.
the world. They are ready to make multinational dills, making
Yep,
dills,
making dills.
converting yuan 24/7. They need to have a supply closet the size of the Taj Mahal. That building explodes. There's a huge draft at that height,
The
like floor
artery
45,
of-
whatever. Exactly. We are talking metric tons of full stock paper.
So you think in
We're
the
talking hole punched. We're talking
you.
regular. We're talking that light pink color that you use sometimes to distinguish
yeah.
it from the
Carbon
light blue color.
copies.
gold bond.
We got legal paper. We got regular size paper.
We got card stock, heavy stock.
Photo paper.
But when-
A4, A5.
Exactly.
we
What I'm
got that
s-
dot
Oversized
matrix
tabloid.
printer paper.
what I'm saying
'cause
is
it's
maybe the
88.
supply closet was right below the C4, right?
Oh.
So the building explodes.
Oh, because you would store your paper close to the roof.
Absolutely. Because
Well, the C4 floor is lower down.
all right.
The one that McClane explodes?
No, the one that blows up the roof.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
when the paper's falling. Yeah.
The roof is on fire.
So I'm saying
It's also
the
very
roof.
tall.
So I'm saying the supply closet is
Yes.
like, ooh, maybe that's what it is. Whole floor is the supply closet because they are a
Oh.
multinational
The
corporation.
top floor
Yeah.
is just paper.
Like the third to top floor is
It's
just
all the
supplies.
lawsuit paper.
Ooh, right.
And there's just like one box fan in there that just like
No,
keeps
I'm
blowing
saying,
it
like,
out.
No,
the
that's
way-
what those two guys in the crane were doing
Yeah.
at the very end.
Yeah, that was our theory. Yeah, like when it cuts to like when it zooms out to like this moment where McClane and Holly Gennaro, I'm saying Gennaro, we don't know what
Yeah.
happens in the middle of that drive.
That's right.
Yeah.
They are smooching in the limo. This camera zooms out to show all the chaos, and it's just sort of like this random, like people on a cherry picker thing. That it's like it's not clear what they're doing. So our theory was they were literally just the crew that was like shaking a sack full of paper
Yeah, 'cause
above the
The
camera.
cherry picker rotates off screen very
Pretty
quickly.
quick.
It's like they're
Yeah.
like, oh shit.
Oh, we're up. Get off screen. Get off screen.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably what happened.
Yeah.
Well, you heard it here.
Yep.
Sure did.
Behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes,
Of-
we assume.
That should be a new segment. Just
more in front of
behind
the
the scenes,
scenes.
we assume.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh.
Christmas movie?
Oh, we should talk about that. I came around to saying, fine, sure, it's a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
I still don't care.
Agreed.
But they
Hammer it in.
hit Christmas hard.
Yeah.
Like if a Christmas movie to you is it takes place at Christmas and Christmas is present in some way,
Yeah.
in some meaningful way, then
Yeah.
yes, they sing a lot of Christmas songs. They reference it being Christmas a lot.
Yeah.
At one point, there wasn't a Christmas reference for a while, so somebody had started to paint "Merry Christmas" like weird,
Oh,
dumbass
yeah.
graffiti.
Some random
For no
construction worker
reason.
must have like tagged that like HVAC system with Merry Christmas.
Yeah. But then thematically, which I think is more important, but again, it doesn't matter. I don't think it really hits those.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah.
That's my thoughts.
Who cares?
mean-
I would say it's more of a Christmas movie than Love Actually.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Like if we're talking about themes, the theme of that movie is you're bad at relationships, but it's gonna work out anyways.
Yeah.
Ooh.
As
Is
long
that
as
how
you're
Christ-
a man.
As long as you're a man. Ugh.
That movie's bad.
This is so bad.
Anyway, who cares?
Who cares?
But also Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Or Happy Holidays.
Happy holidays.
America
Happy
2017.
Holidays.
Yeah.
America.
And the world.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you
We've got international listeners.
Yeah.
That's true.
We have an Australian listener, hopefully still.
Is there
Yeah.
Australian Christmas? Is that a thing?
Yes. Wait, what?
But is that at a different time of year because they're in the other
No.
hemisphere?
No.
No.
But
it's
is
just-
it
I
though?
They
was in
just surf.
Australia last year
Okay.
around
Yeah.
Christmas
Oh,
time,
okay.
and there are Christmas trees up, but it's very strange because it's not cold and snowy like it is here. It's sunny and beautiful.
Great.
Sounds great.
It's
Sounds
just like
like
in Hawaii, where
fake
it's also
Christmas.
not cold,
That's what I'm hearing.
and Santa surfs everywhere.
Oh, sure.
Oh,
Cute.
I want that.
What does Santa do in Australia?
He probably surfs too.
Yeah.
He
He's surfing.
probably
Beals-
surfs
Beals
too.
Beach.
He's at Bill's Beach.
Bill's Beach.
I went to Bill's Beach.
Ah.
No big deal.
Jesus Christ.
Oh my gosh.
He'll
it was
deliver
so
the
fun.
presents when he comes back in. So, Point Break, tweet us, what that bit, salad hole, Bell's Beach. Before we get to our final thoughts and ratings on the movie,
Yes.
we like to read a review of Arso.
We do. We love
in
it.
the impression of a character from this movie, which
Sure.
there are. We could do a light German accent.
Yeah.
We could do a German man doing an American accent.
Yeah.
But We can't because there's no new reviews.
Oh no.
So I guess we'll just take a moment of silence for what could have been.
Okay. Molly. Molly.
Okay, Molly, you have to.
You're being disrespectful.
Okay, and start now.
Jesus Christ.
Okay, starting now.
Now.
Okay.
All right, we'll cut that out in post.
You can just mute. Now that we have these new mics.
Thank you, patrons.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
patrons.
patrons.
We can mute Molly's channel. Great. So Dan, you
Yep.
gave it 4.5.
Yep.
I didn't write anything down about why you did that.
I don't think I said much about it. I think I was mostly focused on like the math of yippee-ki-yay. By the way, math of those, there are 2. They say it twice in the movie. You're welcome. What did I say? 4.5?
4.5.
Sure, 4.5.
Great.
It was enjoyable. I thought I don't know. It's a good action movie. Like there's enough going on where it's not just stupid. You know what I mean? Like some action movies, like they're great action movies, but oh boy, they're stupid.
Yeah.
And this one, like, isn't that stupid actually?
Yeah, it's not stupid.
Yeah.
Stupid, actually.
What? Oh,
Am
that's what it should have been called.
Am I right?
Dang.
Am I right? There you
Am
go.
I right? Thank you. Yeah, not a stupid action movie. Still holds up. You can tell like 30 years of movies have been ripping it off. 4.5 yippee-ki-yays. Right?
Yep.
Did I say that right?
Yeah.
These are yippee-ki-yays.
Okay.
Beth, you gave it 4 because you enjoyed it recently.
Yes, I would stick with 4. I also enjoyed it. I thought it was entertaining. It's also not the best film that I've ever seen. So it doesn't get that 5 yippee-ki-yay.
Yeah.
But it does get 4 of them.
4 of what?
Yippee-ki-yay.
Okay.
Great. I gave it 1 yippee-ki-yay.
Which is the
5
equivalent. Yeah.
Yippee-ki-yays. I guess I should have doubled it and have
Yeah, you should
10
have.
yays.
Ooh, you screwed it up.
Anyway,
We got to start the podcast
All
over.
right.
let's start over.
Welcome to the
It's not a 5 for me. And maybe because it didn't, I feel good about 4.5. I don't think it didn't unexpectedly delight me like I need a 5
Sure.
yippee-ki-yay movie
Yeah.
to. But it executes very well. It's like a very good, simple, clean action movie.
Mhm.
Like it does everything it needs to do. There's very little weird random shit that you're like, what is happening?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just really well done. 4.5. Molly, you gave it a bold 3, as you said, because your gender expectations would ruin it for you,
Yep.
essentially.
Yep. Yeah, no, I think I'll bring it up to 4 yippee-ki-yays.
Oh.
Yeah. Just because I think it was very well done. The script was pretty precise. I liked the way they did exposition. I thought the acting was great. Some of the gender stuff was kind of hard to take. The fact that it passed the Bechdel Wallace like immediately did help put me a little bit at ease.
Mhm.
A little more minority representation could have been nice, but again, it's 1988, so
I even think it did pretty good for
Yeah, for a
1988.
Think so?
for a
Really?
1988 action movie starring a bunch of white dudes, it did pretty good.
Like the lead hacker, smart guy is a black dude.
Argyle,
true.
Argyle.
Powell,
Yeah.
3.
and then
They're all very
and then
competent.
like normal American Japanese citizen was a big one. I feel like
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
just in the way they approached it. Like obviously, like look, obviously it'd be great if more of the main people were minorities. Like that's how movies are.
Yeah.
We were always just
Yeah.
kind of like, ooh, that still would have worked if it were not a white man.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, for real. That's a
Anyway.
very good point. Yeah, okay.
to
All right, I'm going to
undercut
stick
you,
with it.
but-
I'm going to give it 4 yays.
All right.
For
Yeah.
what?
Well,
Yays.
yippee-ki-yays, but I
Kanye's.
feel like yays express like, yeah.
So
Like
what does
enthusiastic
yippee? What does
force.
yippee ki express?
It's the same thing.
Well, then why? Why did you change it?
I don't know. I just felt like it was getting lost in all of the bit. That maybe you're like, maybe it's a reluctant Yippee-ki-yay.
All right.
Listen, people, not all 4s are the same. Okay,
It's true.
some are more enthusiastic than others.
It's true. We
This
live
one
in
is
a
pretty
we live in a
enthusiastic.
world of diversity. We live in a salad bowl of yays and yippee-kis. America number
Yeah,
5.
not all 4s are equal. Some are more equal than others.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Wait, what's going on?
Where is this going?
Animal Farm.
Oh no!
Oh.
What?
Why did it get so dark?
I don't know. We just watched a movie about fucking terrorists.
Yeah.
I mean, they were technically just burglars.
So was Watergate.
Yeah. What?
I don't know. I'm
Oh
so
yeah.
tired.
Remember
Can
when
we
Nixon
stop?
pretended to be an American so that he could trick the American people into being president long enough to steal a bunch of bearer bonds?
He had a
Wait a
pretty
minute.
good, like, vaguely German accent.
I need to write this down. This could actually be a good movie.
Yeah. They should have just exploded the roof off the Watergate Hotel. All that paper would have just
Oh
rained
right.
down
Yeah,
on
they wouldn't
them,
have to steal it.
and they could just pick it up off the ground.
Good man. Good dad. Bad president.
Yes. Call us Hollywood.
Totes Recall is hosted by Molly Chase, Beth Gibbs, Dan Jaquette, and Dan Linden. Produced by Beth Gibbs. New episodes of Totes Recall drop on the 15th of every month. For more information and bonus content, visit us at totesrecall.com. Thank you so much for listening.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Come on. I'm just gonna assume the podcast ended a while ago.
Over, right? God bless America. Oh, Lord bless us.